S nestrpljenjem očekujemo.
Well, we are getting very excited here on the tower to see the crews take to the water for the first time here in the 2023 flat water season, and really close to the action we've got our car commentators Richie Richardson and Colleen Saville. Richie, have we got some crews now attaching themselves to the stake boats?
Spain and Croatia, so shortly underway in the women's pairs race 1.
Thanks very much, Richie. We're anticipating that start time any time now. Just a minute and a half to go until we're kicking off with this first preliminary race of the women's coxless pairs. Lining up on the start line now, the women's pair preliminary race contending 3 crews here in lane number 1, representing the Czech Republic, Radka Novotnikova and Pavlina Flamakova. In lane 2 for Spain, Aina Sid and Esther Pris Zamorano. And in lane 3 for Croatia, the Jurkovic sisters Ivana and Josipa Jurkovic.
Prva utrka današnjeg programa, dvojac bez kormilara za žene. U pruzi broj 1 Češka, pruga broj 2 je Španjolska 1 i pruga broj 3 Hrvatska Ivana Josipa Jurković.
So getting ready for the final moments here on the start line with the crews, it's Richie Richardson who will take you through this first preliminary race.
We're just looking at the crews being extended here. They're getting ready to go into the start position. Preliminary race here, so they are going to race again in the final later on over the weekend. And 3 crews contesting the women's pairs race here between the Czech Republic in lane 1, Spain in lane 2, and Croatia in lane number 3. Lots of challenges over the winter season for these crews. Ana Sid from Spain recovering from surgery, so she has had a difficult winter's training season, but is looking forward to getting underway here. The Jurkovic sisters, really solid races over the last seasons. Gold medalists, of course, in the Euro and World Under-23s in 2021. Picked up a silver medal in World Cup 3 last year, and solid A final results all through last season. Looking to make a step up here, and said their focus over the winter winter season has really been on their technique, looking for gains. So hopefully we'll see that in the race that is coming up here. And also we've just found out this morning that they are looking to be the first women's crew to qualify for the Olympics for Croatia. So a lot on the line for the Jurkovic sisters in this regatta and the season ahead. But they've a proven track record since 2021, won those gold medals, and a very solid season behind them. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we can see that they might be the first crew qualifying for the Olympics, for first women's crew. So the crew's now underway, first race of the day, and they have just cleanly got off of the start. And it is the crew in the centre of the course, Spain, just opening up a very slight lead of half a canvas coming off the start. So the Spain crew of Sid and Brits Zambrano in lane 2, just coming off nice, settling into a nice rhythm. They've taken about a full canvas now off 100 metres from the crew in the Czech Republic in second at the moment. Very little between them and Croatia, stroke for stroke, matching each other. So cleanly out of the start and underway. You can see the crews are just lengthening out now into a nice race stride, coming up on 250 meters. And it is the Spanish crew making the running at the moment. They're taking out just over a canvas lead, moving into second place now. It is the Jurkovic sisters into second place in lane 3, and then third at the moment the Czech Republic. So it'll be interesting to see what the tactics here are for the crews. They're racing again, of course, in the final later on in the race. So it's just a preliminary race here for the women's pairs, and they'll be looking to get used to the course, seeing their way around, look for markers that can indicate when they're going to do their pushes. And as I said, tactics are going to come into play here. Are they going to go out and really push themselves, get the bodies woken up out of the winter season and ready for a tough weekend of racing? Or they might just use it to get used to the course, get a nice little training spin under the belt. Coming through 500 metres, there's only a length separating first to third, and it's still the Spanish pair leading it out in the centre of the course, just about a half a length now, and then nothing at all between the two crews in lane 1, lane 3, the Czech Republic and Croatia, matching each other stroke for stroke. All three crews here rating 37-38 and moving along nicely. They've gone through the 500 metre marks, a quarter of the race gone. And the Spanish pair just putting a little bit of a squeeze on here, and they're opening up now to about a 3/4 length lead. So Spain leading it out still from the start. Just in second place at the moment it is the pair from the Czech Republic, and just half a canvas then ahead of the crew from Croatia. Lots of support here from the Croatian crews and volunteers at this year's regatta in World Cup 1 along the course, cheering the Jurkovic sisters on here, and doing their best to will them on as they come through 750 metres. Still a length and a half. The boats are overlapping, so there's still a length and a half here between the two crews. Spanish crew just taking it up a pip or two there, up to 37, 38. The other crew's down at 36. And they're maintaining that 3/4 of a length lead over the crew from the Czech Republic. So they're the 1 and 2, staying in touch at the moment, but in danger of losing that overlap is the Jurkovic sisters from Croatia in lane 3. You can hear their coach behind us here encouraging them on, shouting instructions as well. So it looks like they're looking to have a nice competitive race here between all three crews. 1,000 metre mark is coming up now, halfway for first race of the day here in the women's pair. And a perfect race to get us underway, nice and close between the three crews as they approach the 1,000 metre mark. The Czech Republic just putting on a little bit of a push now to come back and challenge the Spanish pair for the lead. So those two crews, the Czech pair, now moving up to 37-38 strokes per minute, coming through the 1,000 metre mark, and they're back to half a length between them and the leader, Spain. Just in a little bit of open water now between second and third, between the Czech Republic and the Jurkovic sisters in third place. So they're in danger of losing touch with the two leading crews as they come through the 1,000 metre mark. And again, we'll see how tactics play in the last half of the race here. The Czech Republic pair not hanging around. They're really putting a squeeze on the Spanish pair now. They've taken it up again in lane 1 for the Czech Republic, and they're putting a bit of pressure on the Spanish pair. This is where they're making their move, and it looks like they've come up now to just a canvas off the lead. So very little between the Czech Republic and Spain in the women's pairs race, a canvas just separating them. But those two leading crews pushing each other on, they've now opened up a little bit of clear water between them and the third place Croatian pair. So a little bit of clear water. The Croatian pair will need to react now, coming up to 750 meters to go to make sure that they get back in contention. But more and more clear water opening up between the two leading pairs of Spain and the Czech Republic. Still a canvas separating them out as they come up to about 600 meters to go. Spanish pair still pushing on here. They've led off the first stroke and done a great job of maintaining the lead, but the Czech Republic pair have pushed them all the way, nudging back up to just a canvas off. And I think when we come into the closure and a little bit of a sprint finish, it's going to be very interesting to see who's got more left in the tank coming up to the finish line. 500 meter mark is in sight for them now. They've opened up about a half a length, 3/4 of a length of clear water over the crew from the Croatian pair back in third place at the moment, but it's all about the Spanish pair leading, as I said, from the first start. They're still rating 37, really solid here. They've only put a squeeze on once or twice, and coming through 500 we're going to have a look and see how they're going to react now down to the last quarter of the race. The Czech Republic pair pushing back now a little bit, and as I say that, it is the Spanish pair have just put a squeeze on there coming through 500, moved up another little bit of a notch in the boat, and they've now opened up a 3/4 length lead. The Czech Republic crew seem quite happy with where they are in second place. It doesn't look like they're going to come up and react to that charge from the Spanish pair, but really nice rowing here from the Spanish pair. That surgery that Anna in the bow seat had doesn't seem to have taken much out of her racing ability, with 750 meter mark is coming to do. Camilla, they should be coming into view. First race of the day, great race to get underway, and it is that Spanish pair leading it out, now pushing out, looking to take a length lead coming in towards you.
Yeah, they've led from start to finish here, but still 250 metres to go. An opportunity here for the Croatians and the Czech Republic to move back into contention. But remember, this is a preliminary race. All crews will move through to the A final, so they might just want to keep their cards close to their chest. Just one final challenge here. The rate goes up in the Czech Republic crew up to 37 strokes a minute, but still Spain leading into the final 25 strokes.
Sama je završnica utrka ženskih dvojeca bez kormilara. U vodstvu je posada Španjolske, ispred posade Češke, na trećem mjestu je posada Hrvatske. Podsjećamo da je ovo utrka za staze. Iako je utrka za staze, posade veslaju dosta velik broj zaveslaja. Sama završnica je posada Španjolske trenutno u vodstvu, još nekih 100 metara do cilja. Na drugoj poziciji dalje posada Češke i treća pozicija za Hrvatsku.
Well, the last opportunity to take a few strokes before the A final on Sunday, and it will be Spain that cross the line. Enesid and Esther Briz Zamorano in first place, ahead of the Czech Republic that moved through in second. It will have to be third that the Croatian Jerkovic sisters settle for there, but the A final to take place in a couple of days' time. So our confirmed results there: Spain across in one, Czech Republic in second, and Croatia in third. And as we move through to the second race of the day, this will be the men's pair. First heat in lane 1, Switzerland. In lane 2, Denmark. In lane 3, Croatia. In lane 4, Hungary. And in lane 5, Hong Kong, China. First two to go through to the A final, with the remaining crews moving through to the repechage.
Druga utrka današnjeg programa, dvojac bez kormilara za prva utrka eliminacija. Znači u posadi pruzi broj 1 Švicarska, pruga broj 2 Danska, pruga broj 3 Hrvatska, pruga broj 4 Mađarska i u pruzi broj 6 Hong Kong.
Well, we're already approaching the halfway mark of this first heat of the men's pair, and Colleen, it looked like a great start for Freddie Visterveld and Joachim Sutton of Denmark.
Yeah, Camilla, hello and good morning to everyone. It's been a really interesting first 1,000 meters of the men's pair. The first heat with just two advancing directly to final A, and the remaining crews contesting in the repechage. It is, as you said, looking really good for Denmark at the moment. They're leading by about a half a length over the combination from Switzerland, and then it's back to the Croatians and open water, then back to Hong Kong, China, and Hungary. It was a really fast and furious start for this combination from Croatia, hometown heroes and favorites Patrick and Anton Lončarić. They were quick off the line, they led, and then just lost a little bit of that quick start and that momentum over to Denmark and Switzerland. We're cruising now already through the third 500 with just about 750 150 meters to go. And up at the top of the field, well, it's starting to look as if we have our two clear leaders, and perhaps the Croatian combination, knowing that they don't have enough water to track down Denmark and Switzerland. It is Switzerland, though, for the first time able to get their bow ahead. A really consistent row from Roman Rosselli and Andren Gulish in the stroke seat for Switzerland. They've been in a solid second for the first 1,000 meters. They've now moved their position into a first place position about, well, just shy of one length or so over the combination from Denmark, Fredrik Vistavel and Joachim Sutton. One length just barely separating these two. And then again, back to open water to Croatia, Hong Kong, China, riding in fifth at the moment. So Hungary has moved into a fourth place position from fifth. This combination from Denmark currently riding second. Well, they took bronze in this boat class in Tokyo, so no stranger to the men's pair, which is a tricky boat to row. You need to be very, very skilled and, of course, match just perfectly. And they're back on the international stage after a year out. So, Camilla, they're coming towards you, and Switzerland starting to break away.
Yeah, certainly Switzerland starting to move through the gears here into this final 500 metres, and certainly always feels good rowing through a crew, especially one with the calibre of Denmark, like you say, those Olympic medalists from Tokyo. The Swiss crew, Roman Rosli and Andren Gulic, now starting to try and break clear water. The top two seeming fairly clear here between Switzerland and Denmark to progress through to the A final.
Završnica je prve grupe eliminacija muškog dvojca bez kormilara, trenutno u vodstvu posada Švicarske, na drugoj poziciji posada Danske, na trećoj poziciji je posada Hrvatske. Podsjećamo da iz svake skupine idu po prve dvije posade u finale, a ostali će morati svoje mjesto potražiti kroz repasaž.
Well, from the best of the rest behind Switzerland and Denmark, some toe-to-toe fighting going on ahead of what will presumably be the repechage here for Croatia and Hungary, who just now start to realise that they all have one more race to go before they potentially reach the final. They're just moving at pace here, nice and steady. But over the line, it will be Switzerland ahead of Denmark for those top two important places directly through to the A final. They'll save themselves that race in the repechage. Croatia narrowly edging out Hungary there for those spots through into the repechage in third and fourth. And then finally, Hong Kong, China's Lam Sung-tung and Wang Wai-chun will finish in fifth position. So there we have it, the confirmed results there. A win for Switzerland ahead of Denmark. Croatia, Hungary and Hong Kong, China will progress through to the repechage.
I rezultati prve eliminacijske skupine. Odnosno idemo već na drugu utrku. Znači krenula je utrka druge skupine, eliminacija dvojca bez kormilara. U prvoj pruzi posada Srbije, pruga broj 2 Austrija, pruga broj 3 Slovenija I pruga broj 4 Španjolska.
Well, moving swiftly on now to the second heat of the men's pair. Let's see who will be joining those crews through to the A final. In lane 1, Serbia. In lane 2, Austria. In lane 3, Slovenia. And in lane 4, Spain. And running alongside this race at 900 metres gone, it's Brian Richardson.
So the men's pairs race, the second heat underway here. Off the start, it was the Spanish crew, rating 48, blasted out of the start and opened up a lead coming out of the first few hundred metres. It was the crew from Slovenia right beside them in lane 3 that went with them off of the start, but they've now moved back into 4th place, and the crews looking to challenge Spain for the lead. It's the Serbian pair, so Serbian pair in lane 1, Spanish crew in lane 4. There's about a half a length separating them coming to the 1,000 metre mark, and they have clear water Clearwater over the crew from Austria in third place, Slovenia back in fourth. So two crews to qualify here, and it looks like the crew from Spain and Serbia are not hanging around. They got out to that early lead, they're holding on to it here, and they're looking to take those two qualifying spots, looking to advance onto the final directly with Switzerland and Denmark from the previous race. Great form here from the crews that are racing here. The Serbian pair, bronze medalists in World Cup 1 and World Cup 3 last year, 6th at the Euros, 4th at the World Championships, and again they'll be looking to make that step up and get into medal contention throughout the season here this year in the World Cup regattas and European Championships as well. And the Spanish pair are very experienced, and they are in control here in lane 4. 6th at the Olympics in Tokyo, a lot of good form here, so they're going to dominate here at the moment. They're just looking to open up Clearwater between them and the Serbian crew. Back in third it's the Austrian pair, and in fourth is Slovenia. They're going to have to go through the repechage to try and secure those other qualifying spots. Spanish pair rowing very nicely, coming through 1500 meters, 500 meters to go. Very upright style of rowing, but moving the boat nicely. Great blade work, and pushing the boat along here with 500 to go, continuing to move away from the Serbian pair. Serbian pair looks like they are content with sitting on second place. They can easily react to any challenge that might come in the last quarter from the crew from Austria, but with Clearwater between them and the third and fourth place crews, it looks like they're striding out here and using this as a nice coaching and training spin to get through and qualify into that second spot. The Spanish pair pushing on here. They're still not taking the foot off the gas. They're still rating at 38. They very high rating pair here, and pushing through with about 250 meters to go to Camilla. They're coming into view here shortly. Nice rowing from that Spanish pair, and the Serbians look like they've done enough to get that second qualifying spot into the A final.
Yeah, it does look like they've done enough. This is one of the matchups that I was certainly really looking forward to this weekend, and I'm sure there's a bit of an element of keeping their powder dry here between Spain and Serbia, both medalists from the first World Cup last year. They took home silver and bronze, so going back head-to-head here this weekend, and looks like they'll get a chance to run for the medals here by progressing directly through to the A final if things remain the way they are. Currently in third place, well, that looks to be the crew from Slovenia, my apologies, Austria, and then Slovenia running currently in fourth.
Završnica je druge eliminacijske skupine dvojca bez kormilara, trenutno u vodstvu posada Španjolske ispred posade Srbije, i kako se čini sada će ove dvije posade proći dalje u finale. Na trećoj poziciji je trenutno posada Austrije, dok je na četvrtoj posljednjoj poziciji posada Slovenije.
Well, a nice easy run out on the lake here for the Spanish pairing, continuing on their great form from last season. Jaime Canalejo Pazos and Javier Garcia Ordonez will win out ahead of the Serbian pair of Martin Mačković and Milos Vasic. It will then be Austria and finally Slovenia that will need to race again to claim that spot in the A final here in this second heat of the men's coxless pairs.
Idemo dalje sa programom. Četvrta utrka programa, ženski dvojac na pariće. Posada Švicarske u pruzi broj 1, Švicarska 2 u pruzi broj 1, Švicarska 1 u pruzi broj 2, Češka pruga broj 3, Ukrajina pruga broj 4, Austrija pruga broj 5 i Južna Afrika pruga broj 6.
The preliminary race now for the women's double sculls. In lane 1, Switzerland 2. In lane 2, Switzerland 1. In lane 3, the Czech Republic. In lane 4, Ukraine. In lane 5, Austria. And in lane 6, South Africa. And as we come up to 600 metres, well, Colleen, nothing much really to choose between these six crews.
Camilla, it's a beautiful sight, and it's certainly in the first 500 meters was even more tightly packed than what we see now. Starting to get a little bit of separation, the combination from Ukraine, perhaps the only boat just falling a bit off the pace, but not by much because they're about a half a length separated really from the leading few crews in this race. Well, it's been a Swiss showdown on the far side out of lanes 1 and 2 with Switzerland 2, Salome Ulrich and Sophia Mieken out of lane 1, and Fabienne Schweizer and Lisa Lucha in the stroke seat for out of lane 2. The combination out of lane 2 just starting to edge themselves ahead of the full field, and then it's back over to Austria. So certainly favorites with Olympic bronze medalist Magdalena Lobnik joining forces with Katarina Lobnik once again. So they just missed the podium in Racice last year at the World Cup, and they are certainly one that we'll want to keep an eye on. That's the 1 and 2, and then it's over to lane 6, South Africa, currently riding in third place at the moment. That's Paige Badenhorst and Catherine Williams in the stroke seat for South Africa. So South Africa, they were quick off the line at the 500. They were running first. At the 1,000, they've slipped back into third. That's the 1, 2, 3. And then Ukraine making a bit of a push. Ukraine was riding sixth at the 500. They've moved themselves into a fourth place position. Then it's over to the Czech Republic and the Swiss 2 shell on the far side out of lane 1, riding 6, so falling a little bit off the pace. Taking a look, well, I'd say this Austrian crew in particular looking really relaxed. Again, we've got just fantastic pedigree in this shell, particularly with Magdalena Lobnik in the stroke seat. She's at a nice long 32, 33 strokes per minute. I'd say everyone else around her upwards of 35, 36. But they feel pretty good, it looks like, in that to be in that second place position. We'll see if they've got a sprint in them. They might not need to pull it out. The Swiss combination out of lane 2 continuing to hold court. That's Fabienne Schweizer and Lisa Lucha in the stroke seat, cruising through with just about 600 to go. So the women's double sculls, well, this is a field of just 6 crews. That means that this is a test race. It's a preliminary race, a chance for these athletes to get a race under their belts, to test tactics against one another, to test speed. So just 6 entrants, but certainly a combination, a field packed with experience, with the majority of these athletes having raced at last year's World Championship in Racice and various boat classes. Cruising then through the 500 to go. Switzerland 1 out of lane 2 holding, but this combination from Austria, Lobnik, Magdalena and Katarina starting to make a bit of a push. So they've increased the stroke rate to about 34, 2 beats. It's given them a little bit of an edge over the Ukrainians and over the South Africans out of lane 6. So we'll see what they get up to as they approach the final 250 meter mark. This combination from Ukraine, well, we see the stroke seat, Janina Dovhodko looking over her shoulder to get a sense of exactly which crews she's in touch with as they come into the final stages. So Camilla, they're coming towards you. The Swiss combination looking so smooth.
Yes, Colleen, and they'll be welcomed home by the Swiss cowbells. They never sleep here at the World Rowing Cup. From the first race of the day through to the last, plenty of support here from our Swiss fans for the leading crew, Fabienne Schweizer and Lisa Lecce of Switzerland. And behind them, well, it's a bit of a tussle still going on, but I think my pick, still Austria, the Lobnig sisters. Magdalena joining her sister Katarina here to team up in the double scull. After last year's World Championships once again, but they are also being hotly pursued by South Africa out in lane 6.
Završnica utrke ženskih dvojaca na Pariće, iako je utrka za staze, vesla se vrlo živo. Trenutno u vodstvu posada Švicarske 1 ispred Austrije i Južne Afrike. Još nekih 50 metara do kraja i čini se da će posada Švicarske 1 uspjeti prva proći ciljem. I druga je Austrija i Južna Afrika.
Well, all crews progressing through to the A final in this preliminary, but things certainly looking good for first place crew. Switzerland won, Fabian Schweitzer and Lisa Letcher. They'll have been followed by Austria and South Africa, Ukraine finishing over the line in fourth, ahead of the Czech Republic and Switzerland too, to complete that roundup. And we'll see all 6 crews once again in the A final of this women's double sculls event.
Program ide dalje, krećemo sa petom utrkom današnjeg programa, 20 na Pariće, u stazi broj 1 Hrvatska, Martin Sinković, drugoj stazi imamo Srbija 1, staza broj 3 Mađarska, staza broj 4 Tajland, staza broj 4 Indija i staza broj 6 Argentina 1.
Well, moving through onto the start line now and fastly hot-footing it through 300 metres. We've got the first heat of the men's double sculls with 1 crew to progress through to the A final. In lane 1, the crew that everyone's been waiting to see here at this regatta, Croatia. In lane 2, Serbia 1. In lane 3, Hungary. In lane 4, Thailand. In lane 5, India. And in lane 6, Argentina 1. And it seems to be a great start here for the home favourites, Richie, Martin and Valent Sinkovic.
An unbelievable start. They took about half a canvas off the first 2 strokes. Unbelievable from the Sinkovic brothers, moving out to a length lead within the first 100 metres, and now as we go through 500, they've a length and a half of clear water leading it out here against the crew from Serbia in second place, and then it is the crew from Hungary in third at the moment, and nearest to us the Argentinian double. They're the 1, 2, 3, 4. A little bit further back then to India in 5th and Thailand in 6th. Just 1 crew to qualify here directly into the A final, and the Sinkovic brothers on their quest for their 5th medal win here and on home soil. Of course, came 4th in last year's World Championships. Shook it off straight away. Shows just what kind of champions they are. They were first to congratulate the medal winners from the World Championships last year. They're back with us again here, coming through 750. Had a good solid winter training. They've opened up now a 3-length lead, 750 metres into this race, and they have a 3-length lead over the crew from Serbia. The Serbian crew 15th in last year's World Championships. Some solid results last year as well, coming through a lot of the A finals. They've taken it down now. It looks like they are not going to challenge for that first position. They're going to go through the repechage. They have a nice lovely rhythm in second place here, the Serbian double, in just holding off at the moment the crew from Argentina and the crew from Hungary, 1, 2, 3, 4, coming up on 1,000 metres. No doubt about our leaders though. They have, as I said, gone out of the start like an absolute rocket, taking half a canvas in the first 1 or 2 strokes, taking a length coming through 100 metres, and as they stride out now coming through halfway, they're still moving away from the crews back in 2nd to 6th position. So the Sinkovic brothers here doing what's expected and doing what we love to see, which is them going out hard and fast from the start and opening up the lead. The other crews content with going through the repechage process here. The Argentinians rowing along quite nicely here. High straighting crew up at 36, 37. The other crews in the lower 30s. They are putting on a squeeze here, trying to move into 3rd place. The Serbian crew rowing very nicely in 2nd at the moment. Ideal rowing conditions here. There is a very slight crosswind, but nothing to affect the crews whatsoever, and the at-home crew of the Sinkovic brothers will be very familiar with this stretch of water. They'll know each and every nook and cranny as they come down the course, and will know where the ideal places are to go for pushes and when to react to challenges that are coming in as well. At the moment there is no challenge because they continue to move away. 5-6 lengths of clear water between them and the Serbian double back in 2nd. The Argentinians maintaining 3rd at the moment, just by about 3/4 of a length ahead of the crew from Hungary in 3rd place, and then a little bit of clear water back to the crew from India and Thailand. They're the 1 to 6 coming up with 500 metres to go. So the Sinkovic brothers still putting a squeeze on here. They're not taking the foot off the gas. They're operating 34, 35 strokes per minute, moving the boat absolutely perfectly here, and very nice rowing as well from that Serbian pair. It'll be nice to see how it goes if they can get into the final and see what kind of challenge they're going to put up. They have a bit of pedigree, as I mentioned, from the season last year, getting into A finals, and they'll definitely be looking to challenge for the medals here in World Cup 1. So all to play for in the A final, but they do have to take that route of going through the repechage process. So clear water between them. Back to third place, the Argentinians. They were a little bit late on the start. They just got onto the start with about a minute to spare, but doesn't seem to have affected them, and they're rowing very nicely in third place. Still rating quite high, so it does look like they're pushing on here. Rating 36 compared to the other crews rating 34, 32. So the Argentinians really pushing on here, and the Hungary crew back in fourth place, in a little bit of danger coming into the run-in of being picked up by the crew from India, with Thailand back in sixth. 250 metres to go, so Camilla, as expected, the Croatian pair, the Sinkovic brothers, doing what we were all looking to see them do, come out of the start, dominate from the first few strokes, and as they come into the finish towards you there, it's clear water between them and the Serbian double.
Yeah, it will be a tick in the box here for Martin and Valen Sinkovic, the home favourites. And I'm going to let my Croatian co-commentator talk a little bit more about their journey to this World Cup.
Sama završnica utrke, prve eliminacijske utrke, dvojica na pariće u izvrsnom vodstvu, trenutno Martin i Valen Sinkovic, 100 metara do cilja. Na drugoj poziciji posada Srbije i Martin i Valen će sigurno izboriti ovu prvu poziciju i prolazak u finale. Podsjećamo, o ovoj prvoj eliminacijskoj skupini samo prva posada prolazi u finale i nekoliko zavesla je do kraja i Martin i Valen izvrsno započinju ovaj vikend svjetskog kupa.
Well, that one golden spot through to the A final claimed there by the Sinkovic's, and a big wave to the home fans from them. We'll see them in the A final later on this weekend. It will be Serbia, Alexander Bedic and Alexander Filipovic in second position. Argentina will finish over in third ahead of India. Hungary will then cross the line in fourth place ahead of Thailand. That will complete the round of crews moving through to the repechage. Crews 2 through 5 there, and they'll race once again and get an opportunity to claim a spot in the fight for medals that will take place on Sunday.
Na startu smo 6. utrke današnjeg programa. Druga eliminacijska skupina dvojaca na pariće. Pruga broj 1 Argentina 2. Pruga broj 2 Ukrajina. Pruga broj 3 Estonija. Pruga broj 4 Srbija 2. Pruga broj 5 Španjolska.
Approaching halfway now, the second heat of the men's double sculls. One more crew to go through to the A final from heat 2. In lane 1, Argentina 2. In lane 2, Ukraine. In lane 3, Estonia. In lane 4, Serbia 2. And in lane 5, Spain. And we're moving through halfway, and it's Spain leading the charge here, Colleen.
Yeah, that's right, Camilla. And I think Spain, potentially the biggest threat to Valentin Martin Sinkovic. This is a really skilled crew. They took a silver medal at the 2022 World Championships in Račice. They've also medaled at the Europeans, at the first 2 World Cups last year. So I think the big question is, can they keep this momentum, and will they give the famous Croatian combination a run for their money in this heat number 2? Well, they're looking so smooth, currently running first as they have off the line. That's kind of the story of this race, is this Spanish combination just able to really get some good run and some good power at 38 strokes per minute. So keeping the momentum and the pace on. Just next to them, well, it is this crew from Estonia. So I would say, behind the Croatians and the Spanish in this event, the battle for the podium will most most likely be this combination from Estonia. So we'll keep an eye on them as well. Those are our three clear leaders, and then it's back to Serbia 2, and on the far side, Ukraine, as we approach just under 500 meters to go. So looking really smooth, looking really solid. This combination from Ukraine, well, they'll be on the hunt for medals as well. Great pedigree in this shell as well. So we'll keep an eye. Right now, though, this is all about Spain through the 500 meter to go, 1500 meter down. A good push from Estonia, 36 strokes per minute, and then the far side, Argentina. So these three leaders really able to push away. It's just one to advance on to Final A, with the remaining crews contesting in the repechage. So, well, it would take quite a lot of work, I'm afraid, for anyone else, Camilla, to catch up with this Spanish crew.
Yeah, more Spanish success here this morning. We've already seen their men's pair take to the water. This men's double now of Garcia Pujola and Conde Romero have just taken control of this race. And still some challenging coming from the centre of the lake and from the near side as well, but not enough to move on to this dominant Spanish performance. Estonia currently sitting in second, closing the gap ever so slightly. They've taken the rating up to 37 strokes a minute, but Spain responding at 40 to maintain the lead.
Druga eliminacijska skupina dvojaca na pariće približava se cilju u vodstvu posada Španjolske. Koja i dalje napada, ali čini se da neće biti dovoljno do kraja utrke. Ostalo je nekih 100-tinjak metara. Na trećoj poziciji je trenutno posada Argentine, koja možda dostigne posadu Estonije, ali izgleda neće biti vremena. Izgleda da će posada Španjolske pobijediti i proći u finale.
Kustin and Pulak of Estonia trying as they might to get that one spot through to the A final, but Spain just too strong. They will move over the line in first and through to the A final. Estonia second. A big sprint from Argentina, Skenna and Huck to take third, and it will be then a close finish between Ukraine and Serbia, and we'll wait for those results to be confirmed, with Serbia crossing in fourth ahead of Ukraine in fifth. They will move through to the repechage. And again, we'll get one more opportunity to try and find that space to fight for the medals.
Sedma utrka današnjeg programa, laki samac za žene. Ovo je utrka za staze. U pruzi broj 1 imamo Tajland, pruga broj 2 Hrvatska, Dora Dragičević, pruga broj 3 Češka, pruga broj 4 Nizozemska i pruga broj 5 Hong Kong.
Moving through now to the preliminary race of the lightweight women's single sculls. We've got 4 crews, I believe, lining up here. It seems we're missing Hong Kong, China in lane number 5. But in lane 1, Thailand's Rabawan Sakiao. In lane 2, we've got Dora Dragicevic in lane 2. In lane 3, we've got Neuhotova of the Czech Republic. In lane 4, we've got Tosca Kettler of the Netherlands. And moving through with this race, it's Brian Richie Richardson. Who's the performer of this lightweight women's single preliminary at the moment, Richie?
Well, Camilla, it's changing from stroke to stroke. In lanes 3 and 4, it is the crew, the scullers from the Czech Republic and the Netherlands, battling it out. They keep glancing over at each other as if to say, why are you still here beside me? I've put a squeeze on. So at the moment, it is the sculler Neuhortova in the lane 3, centre of the course, just opening up a little bit of a lead, but up to the last 100 metres, Tosca Kettler was leading it out. So they're matching each other stroke for stroke, very little between them, and they've opened up clear water then back to the Croatian sculler, Dora Dragicevic, in third place at the moment. She's got half a length over the Thai sculler in lane 1, and we do have the Hong Kong China sculler. Her stats aren't showing on the system, but she is here in lane 5 racing, and she has an overlap with the sculler from Thailand at the moment. So in third, fourth and fifth, there is just a length separating them out with an overlap, but clear water to our leaders. Coming through 750 metres, it's the crews with form here coming through and leading it out. Kristina Neuhortova, 17th in the lightweight double. in the World Championships, a lot of good B final positions in the World Cup regattas in last season as well, so she's very experienced, looking to make the step up into A finals and hopefully challenge for a medal. And of course we have Tosca Kettler from the Netherlands in second place at the moment, and she's very experienced as well, fourth in the World Cup won last year, and a lot of racing under her belt, and they're pushing each other on here stroke for stroke. So Tosca Kettler rating up at 36 strokes per minute, Kristina Neuhotova from the Czech Republic down at 35, but they're pushing each other on here. But the sculler from the Czech Republic just opening up about a half a length lead, coming up on the halfway mark. It is of course just a preliminary race here, so they're getting a good gauge of how things might go in the A final. It's interesting to see how the tactics are going to play out in the second half of the race. Those two crews leading Clearwater ahead then of the sculler from Croatia, the local sculler Dora Dragovic is a third place at the moment. She's just opened up Clearwater, then back to the sculler from Thailand in lane 1, and then a further length of Clearwater back to Wing Wun Ling of Hong Kong, China in 5th place at the moment. So they've gone through the halfway mark, and it is Kristina Neuhotova still pushing on here, half a length lead. She's still pushing, a little squeeze on the finish, just glancing over left and right. She's in control of the race, centre of the course. She can easily react to a challenge from Tosca Kettler should it come her way. That lead now opening up from half a length to 3/4 of a length just in the last 200 metres, and they are well clear of the third place crew at the moment, Dora Dragovic from Croatia. Again, ideal rowing conditions here. We're just watching some of the swans in the warm-up lanes, enjoying the racing here as well. Hopefully they won't get in anyone's way during the course of the regatta, but ideal conditions here in the beautiful and picturesque Lake Jarun here in Zagreb. 750 meters to go, and it is still the sculler from the Czech Republic, Kristina Neuhotova. She's opening up now a little bit of clear water, so a very nice solid 500 meters there from the Czech sculler, just moving into a clear water lead over Tosca Kettler in second place at the moment. Still rating quite high, so Tosca is pushing on and trying her best to get back in contention, but the informed sculler, it looks like Neuhotova from the Czech Republic, beautiful long rowing stroke, coming up with 500 meters to go, and is continuing to move away from the field here, opening up now just about half a length, 3/4 of a length of clear water. They're the 1 and 2. Clearwater then up about 3 lengths back to the Croatian sculler Dora Dragovic in a 3rd place, 2 lengths ahead of the Thai sculler Sokoin, and then a little bit of 4 lengths then back to Hong Kong, China Luang in 5th place at the moment. They're through the last 500, and they'll be looking forward to getting out of the sunshine here, recovering nicely. Great to get an early morning row out of the way, under the belt, and they'll be back for the final later on in the weekend, looking to battle it out for the medals. Coming up on 7:50 to go, and it is still Kristina Neuhotova. She has second half of the race there has really changed gear, moving up into a very solid lead, more than a length and a half, 2 lengths of clear water now, and in control, ahead of Tosca Kettler from the Netherlands in second, and some way back then to the scullers from Croatia, Thailand and Hong Kong, China for 3rd, 4th and 5th. So coming into view in the finish there, Camilla, and it is Neuhotova. She's dominated in the second half of the race, was pretty close coming up with 1,000 meters, but really changed gear and moving towards you, dominating and leading this one out.
Yeah, Kristina Neuhotova of the Czech Republic is cruising through these final 250 metres already, and down at rate 33, and alongside her, well, it's the sculler over in lane number 4. That's Tosca Kettler of the Netherlands, back again after some successful racing last year in the single scull. But all crews to progress through to the A final, just a preliminary race here, an opportunity to race side by side and get the measure of your competition. But out in front, it is still Neuhotova of the Czech Republic.
Sama završnica utrke lakog samca za žene. Podsjećam, ovo je utrka za staze. Trenutno je u vodstvu Kristina Neuhotova iz Češke. Na drugoj poziciji je Tosca Kettler iz Nizozemske, dok je za Hrvatsku Dora Dragičević na 3. mjestu. Sama završnica i pobjeđuje Kristina Neuhortova iz Češke.
Kristina Neuhortova of the Czech Republic will have a clear water finish ahead of Tuska Kettler of the Netherlands. It's then Dora Dragicevic of Croatia, another great entry from the home nation, who will be looking to contest this lightweight women's single scull final later on this weekend. It will then be Thailand, Sakiao of Thailand ahead of Hong Kong, China's Lung Wing Wan.
Utrka broj 9, laki muški samac u prvoj eliminacijskoj skupini. Pruga broj 1 Slovenija, pruga broj 2 Mađarska, pruga broj 3 Argentina, pruga broj 4 Austrija 1 i u prugi broj 5 Tajland.
We're already well through the first half of this lightweight men's single scull heat 1. It's the top 2 to go through to the A final, the remainder to go through to the repechage. In lane 1, Rajko Hrvat of Slovenia. In lane 2, Galambos Petar of Hungary. In lane 3, it's Santino Menin of Argentina. It's Lucas Reim of Austria in lane number 4. And Sonram Sinlaparson of Thailand in lane number 5. And it will be Colleen Saville that will be taking you through the second half of this race.
Yeah, thanks so much, Camilla. This race is absolutely incredible, and it's one that I've really been looking forward to. It's just going to be, I think, such an exciting full circuit across the weekend. But, we start with the heat, and what better than to see Rajko Hrvat and Petar Galambos just next to each other, not only in the same heat, but just next to each other in lanes 1 and 2. These competitors, of course, have been racing each other for years and years and years on and off for the better part of a decade. Hrvat most recently picked up a bronze medal at the 2022 World Championships in Rečice, and it's been just a delight to watch. A bit of a patient first 1,000 meters from Rajko Hrvat of Slovenia. He was second at 500 down. He slipped into first at about the 1,000. He's got his signature socks on, so we can see that mint green color from where we're stationed here. Truly the best seat in the house from this commentary car. And wow, has he just decided to go at about halfway, now carrying that momentum into the third 500, and then running second behind him, of course, Petar Galambos, with about an open water gap back to those two. So we know that it's 2 to advance directly to Final A. Barring any disasters, our two advancements would be Hungary and Slovenia. But again, the fascinating part here is just how well these athletes know one another. They've raced each other years after years. They have a sense perhaps of each other's race patterns and tactics and themes, but it's a new year. We're just, of course, before an Olympic year, and no doubt about it, Rajko Hrvat of Slovenia looking to send a message. He's up at 39 strokes per minute, and he's the fastest moving boat on the course. Petar Galambos out of lane 2, well, he's decided to row it at a long 31 strokes per minute. A quick shout out to the 19-year-old Argentinian sculler, Santino Menin, making his international debut, had a first 500 meters. He's carried through in a 4th place position the majority of this. Lucas Reim running 3rd just ahead of him, and then it is back to Thailand. So Camilla, they're coming towards you. Take a look at Rajko Hrvat, will you?
Yeah, Rajko Hrvat, a consistent figure in this lightweight men's single sculls. Great to see him back again for the 2023 season, and I wonder whether we'll see him on the podium later on this weekend. But first jobs first, it's to make it through to the A final, and certainly solidified in a spot there currently from lane number 1. Just next to him, to his left, well, it's another name that we see very regularly on the lightweight men's single sculling scene, Galambos Petar of Hungary. That seems like the top 2 to me, with 3rd place still being contested for by Lucas Reim of Austria.
Završnica utrke lakih samaca prve skupine u uvjerljivom vodstvu trenutno Rajko Hrvat iz Slovenije. Na drugoj poziciji je Petar Galambos iz Mađarske. dok za treću poziciju imamo borbu između posade Argentine i Austrije, znači Lukas Raim i Santino Menin, no izgleda da će Lukas Raim ipak zadržati tu treću poziciju. U ovoj utrci prve dvije posade prolaze u finale.
Raiko Havat over the line, and his favourite quote, "What doesn't kill you makes you stronger," and certainly a strong finish there in this first heat of the lightweight men's singles sculls. Galambush Petter of Hungary will finish second, the top two through to the A final. Repechage contenders look to be Lukas Reim of Austria. It will then be the Argentinian Santino Menin, and then rounding out the competition here in this first heat will be Thailand.
Već je krenula deveta utrka današnjeg programa, druga eliminacijska skupina lakih muških samaca. U pruzi broj 1 Austrija 2, pruga broj 2 Hong Kong, pruga broj 3 Švicarska, pruga broj 4 Austrija 3 i u pruzi broj 5 Slovačka.
Next, we have the second heat of the lightweight men's singles sculls. Another two crews to go through to the A final in this second heat. In lane 1, Austria 2, Paul Ruttmann. In lane 2, it's Hong Kong, China's Chu Hin-chun. In lane 3 for Switzerland, Andrei Strutzina. In lane 4 for Austria, Sebastian Kabash. And in lane 5 for Slovakia, Petr Strakanski. And they're moving through 800 metres gone, and it looks like yet another close race here, especially for that second place, Richie.
It's all about the second place at the moment, because leading it out is the Swiss sculler Struzina, has opened up 3/4 for, he's probably a length of clear water ahead of the competitors. So centre of the course, it's Switzerland leading this one out, going through 750 metres, and then very little between all four crews for that second qualifying spot. Austria 2, Hong Kong, China, Austria 3, and Slovakia as well. A length just separating second to fifth. But doing the job and getting the job done out there in the lead, it's Andrei Struzina of Switzerland, in form rower, bronze World Cup 2 in the lightweight men's double, and took a bronze medal as well at the Europeans in the lightweight men's singles, switching races during the season last year. He's out Clearwater lead, he's not hanging around. He's got those long socks on as well, distinctive white socks, and his Swiss colours. It's easy to see him leading out the centre of the course here. More than 2-3 lengths lead, and at the moment it is Chu Hin-hyun from Hong Kong, China, who was fifth going through the 500 metre mark, has now moved up into contention, into second place at the moment. And very interesting, the youngest competitor of this weekend's regatta from Slovakia, Petr Strakanski, Slovakia, lane number 5 at the moment. A lot of history in medaling at under 19 and under 23 level in both the Europeans and also in the Junior World Cup. He is now in third place at the moment, challenging the Hong Kong Chinese sculler for that second qualifying spot, and very much in touch. It's Paul Ruttmann from Austria in lane 1 as well. Just out of contention at the moment, Sebastian Kabas of Austria 3. He's just moving back into fifth place as Clearwater opening up between him and the other middle of the pack crews. No doubt about our leader though, Andrei Struzina has led it out from the start, opened up Clearwater after about 300 metres, and continues to move away from the field here. He is rating 33 strokes per minute, so in control. Lovely run on the boat, and a very nice rhythm, moving into more Clearwater, and the battle is all going to be for that second spot. Half a canvas separating second, third and fourth, and stroke for stroke this could change. It's still the Hong Kong China sculler, just about a very fraction of a lead over Paul Ruttmann, now moving into challenge third place, and the young Petr Strakanski, youngest competitor at this weekend's regatta. I think he might be struggling a little bit to maintain the contact, just as we look at the Hong Kong Chinese sculler Chu Hin-hyun has now moved into half a length lead. Really nice push from him in the last 100 metres to come up and dominate and take 3/4 of a length to look to take that second qualifying spot. 250 marker is in sight for the crews. They're going to see the boys change from white to red. They're nearly home and doing it justice there. It's Andrei Struzina in the centre of the course. He's now coming under a little bit of pressure from Hu Hin Hun from Hong Kong, China, but there's still clear water between them. So Camilla, it looks like these two crews looking to advance directly onto the A final.
Yeah, it does seem that way. It's all shaken out a little bit from that very tight first half that we had, and it's been a really sort of hard-fought battle here for these lightweight single sculls. And Andrei Strutzner of Switzerland clinging on with his fingertips here against the fast-moving Chu Hin-chun of Hong Kong, China.
Završnica je utrke lakih samaca, druge skupine. Prva dva mjesta vode u finale i kako se sad čini, Andrij Struzina će osvojiti prvo mjesto. Borba je za drugu poziciju, ali izgleda se Hong Kong trenutno odvojio od posade Austrije 2 i čini mi se da je ipak utrka riješena. Andrij Struzina će osvojiti prvo mjesto i Hong Kong će također proći u finale.
And to the delightful background music of the cowbell chimes, once again, it's going to be a Swiss victory for Andrei Strutzner of Switzerland. It's then going to be Hong Kong, China, a really pleasing performance for Chu Hin-chun from lane number 2 to take that second and important spot through to the A final. It will then be Sebastian Cabas, a fast start for him, but moving through to the repechage in this lightweight men's single sculls, along with Petr Strakanski of Slovakia, and Paul Rutman as well. And that will complete the lineup in this second heat of the lightweight men's single sculls.
10. utrka današnjeg programa. Na rasporedu su četverci bez kormilara. Imamo dvije skupine. U prvoj skupini pruga broj 1 Indija 2, pruga broj 2 Indija 1, pruga broj 3 Ukrajina, pruga broj 4 Hong Kong.
The first of our big boat heats now. It's the first heat of the men's coxless fours. In lane number 1, we've got India 2. In lane 2, India 1. In lane 3, Ukraine. And in lane 4, Hong Kong, China. And it seems like it's been a very pleasing start here through 800 metres by the Ukrainian team. Over to you, Colleen.
Mila, this Ukrainian team just looking so smooth out ahead. They've broken into clear water over the Indian combination. India 1 out of lane 2, whom we saw at the World Cup last year this time. And then it's over to the India 2 boat rowing out of lane 1, and then back to Hong Kong, China. This Ukrainian combination up at the front, well, they've been rowing together now. They've hit their rhythm, hit their stride for quite some time. So we saw them at the first World Cup last year. 3 of the 4 were together, with the exception of Alexei Salvaninov in the stroke seat. He came in at the Europeans in 2022. They came back together then for the World Championship as well, where they raced in the A final and finished 6th overall. So it's a combination that we'll certainly want to keep an eye on. And you can tell from where we're sitting here in the commentary car just how relaxed they look and they must feel. They've got a really good cadence, a great rhythm going, 35 strokes per minute, and currently the quickest moving boat on the course. So just great swing, great suspension, and that rhythm really working quite nicely for them. Sergei Gurn in the 3 seat, Mykola Mazur in the 2 seat, and Maxim Boklashenko in the bow seat for Ukraine. Just on the other side of them, again, out of lane 2, it's the India 1 crew, again, who we saw last year. So this is the more experienced of the 2 Indian crews. The other Indian boat just a little bit younger, but doing a fantastic job keeping touch best they can with their teammates out of the Indian 1 combination. So again, 2 crews racing for India, just much like they did at the first World Cup last year. and fantastic to see them back here in this heat number 1 of the men's 4. So closing in on the final 500 meters, still looking really solid for Ukraine. Positions I'd say have stayed quite consistent really for the majority of this race. It's just one to advance on to the A final, so not atypical in that type of a progression where perhaps a clear leader may assert themselves and the remaining crews really use this time to sort of lock into their rhythm, into their cadence, use it as a race knowing that they'll need to potentially be relegated to the repechage. Still looking good though for Ukraine. Camilla, no sign of a repechage for them.
No sign of a repechage for them indeed. A great start here by the Ukrainian crew. And just using this time, like you say, to practice the motions, to understand their race plan and execute it well in a lower pressure environment. Great to see in second place coming through the first of the India crews, India 1, in lane number 2, trying to keep contact, but it won't be enough at this point in time to claim that one spot through to the A final.
Zadnjih 150 metara utrke četveraca bez kormilara. U reljevom vodstvu trenutno posada Ukrajine. Podsjećamo da će samo prva posada izboriti direktan plasman u finale. Trenutno na drugom mjestu posada Indije 1. Na trećem mjestu je posada Indije 2. I na četvrtom mjestu je posada Hong Konga, koji će svi morati naći u repasaž.
That will be Ukraine over the line there in that first spot through to the A final. India will finish second, but will race again in the repechage. It will then be India 2 that cross the line in third. Great to see 2 crews from India out here on the water, and challenging training conditions for them out on the water. So they'll have been blessed with these gorgeous sunny conditions for this heat. And then finally, it will be Hong Kong, China, who again will take on the 2 India crews in the repechage.
Druga eliminacijska utrka četveraca bez kormilara. Na startu su Južna Afrika u prugi broj 1, pruga broj 2 Švicarska i pruga broj 3 Austrija.
And an intense second heat now on the way. This is the second heat of the men's coxless fours. Just 3 crews going up for 1 space here in the A final. In lane 1, it's South Africa. In lane 2, Switzerland. And in lane 3, Austria. And not even through the first timing marker here. All still jostling for position. But I think we might be hearing the Swiss cowbells once again here in this race, Richie.
Absolutely, they're leading it out here, centre of the course in lane 2. The Swiss crew, 3/4 of length lead over the crew from South Africa, and then the Austrian crew back just about a canvas back in third place. So very little between them, but the Swiss crew, they're operating 39 strokes per minute. Just 1 crew to qualify here, so they really are pushing on, and they want to get the job done in the early half of this race. They have the continental rigging in their boat, so the stroke side the stroke is on the stroke side, and then 2 and 3 are on the bow side, and the bow seat is on the stroke side. So a little bit of different rigging. Very same though for the South African 4 and also for the crew from Austria. So all 3 fours racing with that sign called that racing setup and rigging. So a little bit different there. So 750 meters gone back onto the course, and they are just about to open up a little bit of clear water. The Swiss crew, they're putting another squeeze on there, doing their best to move away from the crew from South Africa. Half a length then back to the Austrian crew. Lots of experience and knowledge and racing under the belt of all the crews here in the Swiss crew. Kai Scharzli in the 3 seat, he's moved from sculling to sweep, so a little bit of a change for him this season moving into this combination. In the South African crew, Christopher Baxter in the 2 seat. His ambition this year is to get an Olympic qualifying spot to follow in the footsteps of his idol, his aunt, Colleen Orsmond, who was an Olympian representing connection there in the rowing sport. Jake Green, of course, in the bow seat there for South Africa, host of the Row Show podcast along with Lawrence Britton. A really great podcast if anyone is interested in getting even more insight into rowing, and some great interviews, and a really fun wind up to the season last year when they had their own little award ceremony voted by listeners of the podcast as well. The crew then from Austria, a lot of these different combinations rowing here, some of them from the under-23s in the fours, a new combination here trialling out in this race for Austria. They're back in third at the moment. There's a Clearwater in to them, and the second place crew, the South Africans, just maintaining an overlap. And as I say that coming up, they're just putting a big push on here to put some pressure on the Swiss crew. The Swiss crew still rating quite high, up at 38-39 strokes per minute, and they were looking to do enough to take that one qualifying spot, but the 500 metre mark is coming in sight, and the South African crew put on a big concerted effort there to try challenge the lead of the Swiss crew, but the Swiss crew have been able to respond with that Clearwater lead. They were able to just glance over and see the charge coming on from the South Africans. They reacted to it, and they're maintaining that 1 length lead now. So it's all going to be about the tactics for the last 500. Will the South African crew continue to push on here and try get that one qualifying spot, or are they going to leave it to the Swiss crew, who look like they're putting on another charge here to open up even more of a security blanket between them first and second, some way back then to the Austrian crew in third. And it looks like the South African crew might have made a decision there just to coast along in second, get some good racing under their belt, but not to come in and challenge all the way to the line here. The Swiss crew continue to wind it up, so 250 metres to go in the second heat of the men's four, and dominating from the start has been the Swiss crew. They've not taken the foot off the gas, and Camilla, they're just opening up another little bit of clear water as they come in towards the finish.
Yeah, and again, that beautiful backing sound of the bells will just make them that little bit more motivated to reach the line in top spot to get themselves that place in the A final. But no let up here from the South African crew. They're up at 39 strokes a minute. Switzerland responding at 42, and it's still Switzerland that have the lead by 1 length.
Završnica utrke je četveraca bez kormilara, vodi se borba između posade Švicarske i Južne Afrike za to jedno mjesto koje vodi u finale. Trenutno u vodstvu posada Švicarske, trenutno na 42 zajeslaju minuti, nekih dužinu zaostaju posada Južne Afrike i izgleda da će posada Švicarske odnijeti pobjedu, i na trećoj poziciji je posada Austrije.
Alleviating the stroke rate slightly for the last few strokes over the line. Switzerland go down to 40 to cross in first position, and most importantly through to that A final. It will then be South Africa ahead of the crew from Austria, and those two crews in second and third will contest the repechage, and that second opportunity to move through to the medal final.
Na startu je prva od dvije eliminacijske skupine ženskih samaca. Pruga broj 1 Tajland, pruga broj 2 Švicarska 2, pruga broj 3 Češka 1, pruga broj 4 Mađarska, pruga broj 5 Španjolska.
So just a short gap now before we start the next of our heats, which will be the first heat of the women's single sculls. That's due to kick off at 10:45 local time. So just shy of 10 minutes time until we kick off that first heat of the women's singles. Well, we've already seen the Sinkovic brothers get one step closer to that 50th medal that they're going after this weekend. What an exemplary record. And here on home water, they could achieve that feat. They've made it through to the A final of the men's double sculls. And we hope to see you back on Sunday where they'll be in the chase for that 50th medal. We'd also like to thank all of our partners for their support here to allow us to run a successful regatta here at the first World Rowing Cup of the season in Zagreb. And of course, this is just the first of 3 World Cups this season. We've got more to look forward to. After Zagreb, it will be Varese in Italy to host the second World Cup of the season. That will take place between the 16th and 18th of June. And then the third World Cup to round off and find out who will top the standings here in the World Cup series. That will be Lucerne in the beautiful mountains of Switzerland between the 7th and 9th of July. And be sure to join us back to watch these crews progress through the season in this Olympic qualifying year. We've got our next race lining up at the stake boats 2,000 metres away from us here in the finish tower. And it is the first heat of the women's single sculls. In lane 1, it's Nuntida Kranjanjam of Thailand. In lane 2, it's Oriela Maxima Katarina Janssen of Switzerland. In lane 3, Lenka Lukseva of the Czech Republic. In lane 4, it's Bertush Kitty of Hungary. And in lane 5, it's Virginia Diaz-Rivas of Spain.
Prva eliminacijska utrka ženskih samaca, pruga broj 1 Tajland, pruga broj 2 Švicarska 2, pruga broj 3 Češka 1, pruga broj 4 Mađarska, pruga broj 5 Španjolska.
And we should be just a few moments away from these single sculls getting underway. And up at the start, it will be Colleen Seville that will take us through the next 2,000 metres. Colleen, who's your money on in this first women's singles heat?
Yeah, Camilla, it's who's my money on? Well, it's a fantastic question. I'm keeping a really close eye on Aurelia Maxima Katarina Janssen of Switzerland. She is certainly a favorite that will want to follow throughout the weekend. She's had a really clean start, a really good first couple of 100 meters, and she's lengthening out now to a nice solid base pace in this first quarter of the race. race. Just next to her, well, that's Lenka Luksova. She's another one, too, that we'll want to keep a close eye on. I think, the fascinating thing about the women's single sculls here at the first World Cup is that it's a boat class that could really be one of the most interesting events. It's truly wide open. 5 of the scullers entered in the event, raced at the women's single at the 2022 World Rowing Championships, but only Virginia Diaz-Rivas of Spain, closest to us in the commentary car and currently riding third, made it to the final. So lots of opportunity because there's no, real clear leader that we know or that one thinks is going to capture it, but certainly some favorites to keep an eye on. As we close into the first 500 meters down, the first quarter of the race gone through, still looking so good for Aurelia Maxima Katarina Janssen of Switzerland. And she, wasn't at the Senior World Rowing Championships last year, but she did pick up a silver in the boat class at the World Rowing Under-23 Championships. So the 19-year-old already has so many titles to her name, and she's Switzerland's second entry in this boat class. So, we'll keep a close eye on her and see her teammate in the next heat. She's now broken into an open water advantage over the rest of the field, and so she's getting really long, really quite comfortable up at that stroke rate. And again, just 19 years old, so a real talent for the Swiss team and one that we'll want to keep an eye on both this weekend, this year, and certainly we hope for years to come. Just behind her, well, the battle continues. I'd say Virginia Diaz-Rivas of Spain, as noted, she's another talent for the Spanish team, starting to make a little bit of a push, perhaps putting herself just ahead of Lenka Luksova from the Czech Republic. The progression is just 2 to advance to the A final, so it's a bit of a punishing progression in that sense, just 2 to go on with the remaining crews relegated to the repechage. So these moments, we're not just quite at halfway in the second quarter, can be really critical in the body of the race. So in the second quarter of the race and the third quarter of the race, these moments to kind of jockey yourself up. If you are committed to making a run at one of those top 2 positions, well, you'll want to stay in really, really good touch with the leaders. Looking like that's exactly what Lenka Luksova is attempting to do at the moment, but she is just a little bit off the pace of the Spanish sculler who currently leads. Up at the top of the field, well, we'll have to keep an ear out for those cowbells because it's looking so good for Aurelia Maxima Katarina Janssen, the 19-year-old who just can see the full field behind her. She's got a really long stroke, good suspension, good rhythm, and of course her famous blades, the Macon blades, rather than the usual what we would call hatchets in the States. Which are typically the standard blades. So she's using that different type of oar, which really works for her. Oftentimes you see that really maybe more so in the junior years, but she's carried it through with her into the under-23s, into her senior years, again, just 19 years old, and making both the boat and the oars work for her and for her rhythm. So closing in then on just shy of the 500 to go, just about 600 meters. It's looking like now we have 2 clear crews that will advance on to this A final, barring any big changes. So looking fantastic then for Spain and for Switzerland up there at the top. I think at this point, perhaps Lenka Luksova has made a decision that she'd have to do quite a bit of work to get up to the top of the field. So she's brought it down a beat or 2, stroke rate or 2, to just lengthen out and continue on through this first heat of the women's single sculls. Up at the top, well, we see Janssen maybe taking it up about a beat as well, as she comes just first to cross into the final 500 meters to go in just a few strokes. The women's single sculls, again, totally open event. Really excited to see how this one progresses throughout the weekend. The singles, always a delight to watch, and typically a boat class that has just good depth of entries and talent on both the men and women's side. Little bit of a push from the Spanish sculler, Virginia Diaz-Rivas, maybe trying to send a bit of a message over to Janssen from Switzerland. They run now just about bow to stern, but we'll have to see. Camilla, there's a bit of pride on the line in these moments. If you can get your bow ahead, that's probably where you want it to end up, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And certainly for the likes of Diaz-Rivas, who was contending at the Olympic Games in the women's pair, racing up against the up-and-coming talent from Switzerland, the 19-year-old Janssen, who has got a glistening medal cabinet from junior and under-23 single sculls, and she's only just 19. And still, with two to progress through to the A final, like you say, more a case of pride than it is of qualification spots. Both of these scullers from Switzerland and Spain looking relatively safe to go through to the A final, and it will be a long set of competition here to go through to the repechage, but it's the sculler from the Czech Republic in lane number 3 that currently contends third.
Prva skupina ženskih samaca približava se cilju, trenutno u vodstvu Švicarka Katarina Maksimović Aurelija Janssen. Na drugom mjestu posada Španjolske, iako je sad Španjolska preuzela vodstvo. U ovoj skupini prve dvije posade idu u finale, dok će ostale posade morati potražiti svoj put do finala kroz repasaž.
Well, you called it, Killian. Certainly that push for pride motivated Diaz-Rivas of Spain to get her bows ahead of Switzerland across the line. She will take the win in this first heat of the women's single sculls ahead of Aurelia Maxima Katarina Janssen of Switzerland, but both progressing through directly to the A final. It's then for third place, well, it's the Czech sculler Lenka Luxova in lane number 3. Some lengths back, but saving energy and conserving for that repechage. And then a really tight battle here between the scullers from Thailand and Hungary. And it will be a close one on the line. We'll wait to get those results confirmed, but both progressing through to the repechage in this women's single sculls event. So it was there a fourth place finish for Krajangjam of Thailand ahead of Bertush of Hungary, rounding out the field for the repechage in this women's single sculls.
Druga skupina eliminacija ženskog samca je krenula sa starta, utrka broj 13, pruga broj 1 Švicarska 1, pruga broj 2 Bugarska, pruga broj 3 Slovenija, pruga broj 4 Azerbejdžan i pruga broj 5 Srbija.
So we've now got the second heat of the women's single sculls, just two to go through to the A final. In lane 1, Pascal Walker of Switzerland. In lane 2, Desislava Angelova of Bulgaria. In lane 3, it's Nina Konstanciek of Slovenia. In lane number 4, it's Diana Dimchenko of Azerbaijan. And in lane 5, it's Jovana Arsic of Serbia. And moving through with this race, unlucky for some, race number 13, it's Brian Ritchie Richardson.
So race 13, unlucky for some, but not for the Serbian sculler Jovana Arsic. She has opened up a 3/4 length Clearwater lead here, leading it out in lane number 5 in the second heat, looking to take one of the 2 qualifying spots into the final along with Spain and Switzerland. She's leading it out, lovely rhythm from her, a very experienced rower, 15th at the Olympics in Tokyo, 10th at last year's World Cup, and she'll be looking to move from those B final placings into the A finals this season, and doing a great job here. Continues to open up a Clearwater lead over the nearest contender, which is the Bulgarian sculler Desislava Angelova. Moldova in second place at the moment. Clearwater then back to very little between third, fourth and fifth. The scullers from Switzerland, Slovenia and Azerbaijan. Just two crews to qualify for at the moment. It looks like Serbia and Bulgaria are doing enough here, coming up more than halfway gone in this race, and very little between, half a length just separating the other crews, and they might push each other on for the third, fourth and fifth placing and come back into contention with the second place and current second qualifier into the final, Angelova from Bulgaria. Unusual to see Slovenian sculler Kostanček, Nina Kostanček from Slovenia. She's a gold medal winner at Bled International Regatta just last month, so I'm sure she was looking to be in contention here and challenge for the qualifying spots. Might be holding off and looking to go through the rep to get more racing under her belt. We're watching the Bulgarian sculler now come back into contention with Jovana Arsic, so they're the two that have Clearwater lead. She's not content, Angelova from Bulgaria, she's not content to stay in second place, coming up with 500 metres to go, and she's just getting an overlap now back with the Serbian sculler Jovana Arsic. They're the 1 and 2, Clearwater then back, and it literally is stroke for stroke, just probably half a canvas separating third, fourth and fifth, with Switzerland and the sculler from Azerbaijan now coming back into third place contention and pushing all the way here, coming with 500 metres to go. So Spain and Switzerland already qualified, and it looks like it might be another Bulgarian and Serbian sculler joining them into the final directly of the women's single sculls. Jovana Arsic just doing enough to stay in control of the race here. She's rating 32, very nice rhythm. The Bulgarian sculler Desislava Angelova pushing all the way, she's up at 34 and looking to really challenge for the win here in the women's single heat 2. And then it is the sculler from Azerbaijan, Diana Jimchenko, at the moment a canvas lead over Nina Kostanček of Slovenia in third and Pascal Walker of Switzerland back and forth, but all to play for here. It's about half a length separating them, and I'll tell you what, Camilla, Desislava Angelova from Bulgaria, she's going to race this one all the way to the line here.
Yeah, and when you've got those that pressure coming in from either side there in lane number 2, she'll be able to see everything that's going on around her in this final 250 metres and put the work in to stay ahead. Angelova of Bulgaria will have to keep a beady eye out in lane number 5 for Jovana Arsic, who is in second place but challenging for the lead, very similar to the first heat that we saw just moments ago with Diaz Rivas moving through the outside from Spain. And I think Arsic here with the momentum to start moving through into top spot ahead of Angelova of Bulgaria.
Završnica je utrke samaca, ženskih samaca, druga eliminacijska skupina, trenutno u vodstvu Jovana Arsic iz Srbije, vrlo blizu iza nje je Desislava Angelova iz Bugarske, obje će izboriti svoje mjesto u finalu, dok će posade Švicarske, Azerbejdžana i Slovenije morati svoje mjesto potražiti kroz repasaž.
Yeah, Jovana Arsic hanging on there to that top spot despite big challenges from Desislava Angelova of Bulgaria, who moves through in second, both through to the A final here at the first World Cup in this women's single scull event. A great fight behind for third place. It will be Pascal Walker of Switzerland that takes the honours there, but it will see her through to the repechage, and again it will be racing Konstanciak of Slovenia and Dimchenko of Azerbaijan. Those three scullers will need to race again before heading into the A final.
Prva od 6 eliminacijskih skupina muških samaca je na startu, odnosno već je krenula. Posada Bugarske 3 u pruzi broj 1, Hong Kong pruga broj 2, Španjolska 1 pruga broj 3, Njemačka pruga broj 4 i Tajland pruga broj 5.
On to now the men's single sculls. This is a the first heat with progression through to the quarterfinal. We're looking for our top 4 here to progress through to that quarterfinal and the final scullers to move through to the E-final. In lane 1, we've got Lazar Penev of Bulgaria. In lane 2, Chan Chi-feng of Hong Kong, China. In lane 3, Jordi Jofre Esenciales of Spain. In lane 4, the reigning world champion Oliver Zeidler of Germany. And in lane 5, Premanut Watnansith of Thailand. And it's no surprise to see here, Colleen, it's Oliver Zeidler of Germany, the dominant force in this first heat.
Yeah, Camilla, the dominant force, no doubt about it. I think through the 500, he just barely dropped below 40 at 500 down. He was 43 most of the first quarter of the race, and now he's decided that he's satisfied, at least for now, with the lead that he's had because he's lengthened out to about 33 strokes per minute. Certainly the favorite, as you rightly say, with the gold from last year's World Championship in this event. And then during the winter months, he won the World Indoor Rowing 2,000 meter title with a really impressive time of 5:37. So he's certainly the favorite in this men's single sculler event, and we'll have to keep an eye. He's got some good competition, and there's 5 heats, I believe, of the men's single sculls. So again, speaking to really the depth of this category. So that's the story. Zeidler out in front now at a long 33. What's happening behind him? Well, continues to be Spain. So Jordi Jofre Esenciales of Spain out of lane 3 is his closest competitor. But again, there's about a length or two separating them. And it's top 4, the progression to advance to the quarterfinal, with the remaining crews relegated to either the quarterfinal or final E. So top 4 is where you want to be. Zeidler certainly looking to be one of those crews. Spain, again, has been consistently running second. Then at the 1,000, it was back to Hong Kong, China. Lazar Penev of Bulgaria, who up until this season has been a lightweight rower, but has switched to the open weight category. He has an under 23 bronze from the 2021 World Rowing Championship, so some titles to his name and a talent for Bulgaria. He's currently running in 4th, and then it is back to Thailand. So closing out the third 500 and approaching the final 500 to go. Ollie Zeidler decides to drop it again. He's now down at 30 strokes per minute. So he's looking just really long, really controlled. We've got a fabulous view of his rhythm and of how he's tackling this first heat from our commentary car. And you can just see the length. And on this perfectly flat water here in Lake Jarun in Zagreb, Croatia, he's making the best of what are really, really good conditions. Behind him, well, I'd say that things staying pretty consistent. The Spaniard still holding on to that second position. Again, top 4 advance directly to the quarterfinal. And on the far side, Lazar Penev starting to make some kind of a push, but it's so tight between him and the sculler from Hong Kong, China. Camilla, you'll have to sort it out for us from the tower.
Yeah, still plenty of time, especially in the single sculls, to make those closing moves here to clinch your way into that top 4. But I think from my view up here, it seems to me the only sculler out of the running for that at the moment is the Thai sculler, Watnansith, over in lane 5 with some clear water back from the leading 4. But you're right, the race up at the front of the field, well, Zeidler looking very comfortable in that top spot and has been through all of our timing markers here, and just keeping a comfortable length and a quarter ahead of Jofre Esenciales of Spain in second. Top 4 to go through, though, in this one, so 2 more places up for grabs behind Germany and Spain. And at the moment, it's with Penev of Bulgaria in lane 1, who sits 3/4 of a length up on Chan Chi-feng of Hong Kong, China.
Završnica prve eliminacijske skupine muških samaca. Oliver Zeidler trenutno drži kontrolirano vodstvo. Podsjećamo, prve 4 posade izborit će četvrtfinale u muškog samca. Trenutno jedini koji je van te konkurencije je samac iz Tajlanda, dok su ostale posade Španjolske, Bugarske i Hong Konga uspjele proći u četvrtfinale.
The reigning world champion back in style on winning form in this first heat of the men's singles sculls, and Jofre Senciales of Spain will have to settle for second behind Oli Zeidler of Germany. The race between Penev and Chan, well, it was won by Penev of Bulgaria for that third place, fourth to Chan Qifeng of Hong Kong, China, and that top four will progress through to a quarter-final of that men's singles sculls event. It will just be Watananasith of Thailand to move through to the E-final.
Druga eliminacijska skupina muških samaca je krenula sa starta. Posada Finske, pruga broj 1, Danska 1, pruga broj 2, Indija, pruga broj 3, Bugarska 2, pruga broj 4 i Slovenija 2, pruga broj 5.
Next, we have the second heat of the men's single sculls, another 4 scullers to progress through to the quarter-final from this heat. Lining up on the start line, we had in lane 1 for Finland, Jol Nakarainen. In lane 2 for Denmark, Bastian Seka. In lane 3, Satnam Singh for India. In lane 4, Emil Neikov for Bulgaria. And it seems like we might be missing Isaac Ivan Zvandeli of Slovenia. But moving through with the action and with these scullers to tell us a little bit more, it's Brian Richie Richardson. And looks like you've moved through halfway already, Richie.
Yeah, already through the halfway mark here in Heat 2 of the men's single sculls, and it is Bastian Seka of Denmark who's opened up a 1-length lead over the Bulgarian sculler Emil Neikov in second place at the moment, just a fraction ahead of the Finnish Nakarainen in third place. They've clear water over the Indian sculler Satnam Singh back and forth, so all to play for here for the qualifying spots. The Bastian Seka, 9th in the World Championships this year, 6th at the European, so he'll be looking to take things up a gear here and get it into the A-finals and get into contention for medals this season. Big guy, 6'4", looks very big in the boat, a very erect rowing style, not much of a lean back at the finish in comparison to the sculler Emil Neikov from Bulgaria. Again, another big tall guy, 6'3", coached by his mother Maria Neikov. Just 21 years of age, lots of success at the under-23 Europeans, bronze at the under-23 Worlds, looking to make a gear change now into the senior racing, and as I say that he is pushing into challenge for the lead here. Just in the last stroke or through, he's taken over the lead now ahead of Bastian Seka in second place. There's overlap then back to Neikarainen from Finland. They're the 1, 2 and 3. Overlap between third, second and first, and some way back to the Indian sculler Satnam Singh in fourth place at the moment. 1500 metres gone, 500 to go. And that young sculler, Emil Neikov from Bulgaria, moving on from this very successful last few seasons that he's had, making that transition into senior rowing out of under-23. And he's opened up just a canvas lead now, rowing very nice, very powerful in the water, 33 strokes per minute, moving the boat along, and has that lovely old-style finish, really getting the maximum out of every stroke. And he's pushing on now to half a length lead over Bastian Seka in second place, who's in control. Nice rhythm from Bastian in second place, rating 30, so not putting himself under pressure. Just had a little glance over his left-hand shoulder there to check out where Emil is, knows that he's in contention and in control and can react to any challenge that might come his way from Joel Neikarainen of Finland. They're the 1, 2 and 3, and look under control, as I said, with about 250 metres to go. So Camilla coming into view there, and nice to see the young sculler taking the lead there, coming in towards the finish, just maintaining half a length over the Danish sculler Bastian Seka at the moment.
Yeah, a great run out here for the young Bulgarian, as you say, Emil Neikov. A really well executed race, moving through the 1,000 in second place and slowly but surely gathering pace to lead out this heat. Just top 3 through to the quarter final, as we've only got 4 scullers out here on the course, missing that second Slovenian sculler. But the race not to be last, and in that hot seat at the moment it is unfortunately Satnam Singh of India with the work to do, but all coming to a close here in this second heat of the men's single sculls, and a great scull by Emil Neikov ahead of Bastian Seka.
Druga eliminacijska skupina muških samaca približava se kraju. Izgleda će Emil Neikov iz Bugarske uzeti pobjedu. Na kraju sve 4 posade će proći dalje u četvrtfinale jer posada Slovenije 2 nije startala utrku.
Neikov for Bulgaria there through the line ahead of Bastian Seka of Denmark. The third and final spot through to the quarterfinals will be awarded to Jol Nakarainen and Satnam Singh. Closely following in that fourth place, still very much with the pack over the line, but will move through to contend the E-final of this men's single sculls event.
I već smo u trećoj eliminacijskoj utrci muških samaca. Pruga broj 1 Moldavija, pruga broj 2 David Šajn za Hrvatsku, pruga broj 3 Boris Cesarec, Hrvatska 3 i pruga broj 4 Danska 2.
Well, heat 3 of the men's single sculls already underway and through that first timing marker at 500 metres. And the lineup here in lane number 1, Ivan Korsunov of Moldova. In lane 2 for Croatia, David Sain. In lane 3, Boris Cesarec of Croatia as well. And in lane 4, great to see him back, Sverre Nielsen of Denmark. And bursting back onto the scene after a little bit of time away from international competition, looks like Sverre Nielsen making a great start to the 2023 season here, Colleen.
Right, Camilla, it is great to see him back. He hasn't raced internationally since the Olympic Games in Tokyo, where he finished 4th in this event. Took a silver medal, though, from the 2019 World Championships and a 2020 European Championship. So he is one that Ollie Zeidler will be keeping an eye on. Certainly, Ollie will be interested to see, what his time is for this Heat 3, especially in conditions as consistently flat as this. Great to see him back on the scene, and he's certainly making the most of it as he looks toward the second half of this race at a cool 34 strokes per minute. He's the quickest moving boat on the course, the 6'4" athlete from Denmark. His closest threat comes from the far side, Ivan Korsunov of Moldova out of lane 1. He is certainly another one that we'll want to keep an eye on. A good talent, successful season in the double sculls last year for the 2022 season. And he finished 5th at the World Championships in Rachice. So incredible depth, as we've said, across the men's single sculls. It's always an event to look forward to. And this preview that we're getting from the first heat and now mid-second heat, just giving us a little bit of a glimpse of all of the excitement to come this weekend. So Sverre Nielsen, well, looking quite relaxed, quite solid, 33 strokes per minute. The Moldovan sculler even lower than that at about 31. So they're both clearly in command of this race. The progression, well, it's 3 to advance on to the quarterfinals. So top 3 is where you want to be. And our third place contestant, again, out of four boats total in this event, well, it's looking like that could be the Croatian 2 shell of David Sain. His teammate just in the lane next to him, Croatia 3. That's Boris Saracek. And looks like he'd have a little bit of work to do to catch up to his teammates. So quite a bit of distance, I'd say, separating these 4 athletes. Up at the top, Sverre Nielsen holding his own. As we take a look at how he's rowing it, well, it's a lot of push from the legs. I wouldn't say too much swing into the back end. He's nice and tall, getting good suspension into the front. He gives a glance over his right shoulder, we just saw from the commentary car, over to Ivan Korsunov of Moldova to get a sense of exactly where he is as they cross into the final 500-meter stretch. So heat number 3, quite consistent, I'd say, today in terms of positions and in terms of how these athletes have sort of managed their first 1,500 meters as they look toward the final 250. Nielsen of Denmark back on the international scene, as mentioned, after a little bit of a hiatus. He's got plenty of titles and accolades to his name. He is no stranger, again, coming out of the Tokyo Games to the heat and to the pace, and he's just demonstrating that he's able to slip right back into it for the 2023 season. That's what it's looking like, at least for now, Camilla. You'll have to let us know how the final 250 unfold.
Yeah, thanks, Colleen, and a good start here to 2023 for Sverre Nielsen, as you say. Great to see him back on the scene, and he will move through this final 250 metres at a comfortable rate 30 as he moves now with clear water just ahead of Ivan Korsunov of Moldova. The Moldovan also striking 30 strokes a minute and starting to actually ratchet things down now to 29 into these final 200 meters.
Posljednjih 100 metara treće eliminacijske skupine muških samaca u uvjerljivom vodstvu Sverre Nielsen iz Danske. Na drugom mjestu je trenutno Ivan Korsunov iz Moldavije, dok su na trećem i četvrtom mjestu hrvatski veslači David Šajn i Boris Cesarec koji se bore za treće mjesto. Podsjećamo, u ovoj skupini prva 3 mjesta vode u četvrtfinale. I izgleda će David Šajn ipak izboriti to treće mjesto, dok će Boris Cesarec svoje mjesto kroz četvrtfinale potražiti u repasažu.
Well, top three through to the quarterfinals. It's a long run in this men's single sculls from heats to quarters to semis to finals. And it will be the sculler from Denmark, Sverre Nielsen, that moves into that quarterfinal along with Ivan Korsunov of Moldova. It's then the Croatian on home water, David Šajn, that takes that third and final spot ahead of our other Croatian sculler, Boris Cesarec. And we'll be moving on to the fourth of 5 heats in just a moment in this men's single sculls.
17. utrka današnjeg programa, četvrta eliminacijska skupina muških samaca, pruga broj 1 Finska 2, u pruzi broj 2 Hrvatska 1 Damir Martin, pruga broj 3 Brazil i pruga broj 4 Zimbabwe.
As we say, the fourth of 5 heats here in the men's single sculls. 3 to progress through to the quarterfinal from this next race. In lane 1, it's Finland 2, Olli-Pekka Karppinen in lane 2, the great Damir Martin in lane 3, Lucas Vertain Ferreira, and in lane 4, Stephen Cox of Zimbabwe. Now, I know a lot of people here that will be very keen to see how Damir Martin is progressing. Richie, can you let us know how he's getting on?
Yeah, he's off to a blistering start here, and he's dominating the race with a 1-length lead coming up towards the halfway mark. He's leading out the Brazilian sculler in second place, the Finnish sculler back in third. They're the 1, 2 and 3. Clearwater then back to the sculler from Zimbabwe in fourth place at the moment. 3 crews to qualify, and doing enough and moving very nicely at a rate of 33. It is Damir Martin. If he was looking to do some extra training over the winter, he could just put all his medal haul around his neck and start doing some squats. It would help him. A very, very popular rower, and great to see him back racing here on home waters as well. Of course, silver medalist in Rio, bronze in Tokyo, as well as having a silver in the quad in London. So it's great to see him back here competing in the home water with just about a 3/4 length lead. The sculler from Brazil, Lucas Vertain Ferreira, the 24-year-old, 12th in the Olympics in Tokyo. He's just staying in contention, rowing very nicely, slightly higher rate, just about 2 pips ahead of Damir Martin. And they are leading it out, and there's an overlap then back to Olli-Pekka Karppinen of Finland. They're the 1, 2 and 3 Clearwater. They look in control of the qualifying spots as they come up with about 750 metres to go. So very nice rhythm from Damir Martin. He's rating 31, in control here. He can look left and right at his nearest competitors and make sure that he is not in danger of losing out on the lead or indeed one of the 3 qualifying spots to move into the quarterfinal. But still maintaining a 3/4 length lead and being pushed all the way by Lucas Ferreira of Brazil in second place, just holding on to that overlap, but a stroke or two could see Damir Martin move out to a clear water lead. Coming up on about 600 metres to go, there's still the 1, 2 and 3, very little change since the first few hundred metres. Stephen Cox of Zimbabwe unable to stay in contention for the direct qualifying spots into the quarterfinals. So it is going to be Croatia, Brazil and Finland at the moment as things stand. We're coming up with 500 metres to go. And again, perfect rowing conditions here. The slight crosswind that was there earlier on has died down, so just a very slight ripple onto the water there as they come through 500 metres. And we're just watching Damir Martin now just putting on a squeeze and moving open water between him and the Brazilian sculler in second place. So he's looking to just push out here coming up in towards the last quarter of the race and make sure he is in full control and taking that first qualifying spot. Great race from the Brazilian. He stayed in touch, pushing the Croatian sculler all the way here over the first 3 quarters of this race, and just might be in danger now of... He's just put a little glance over his shoulder. He can see that Damir Martin has moved up, but he's quite content to sit in second place, just ahead by about a length over Karppinen of Finland in third place. They're the 1, 2 and 3. Very qualifying looking established here. Camilla coming in with 250 to go. Nothing really has changed from the start. Great to see Damir Martin dominating the race here and opening up clear water as he comes into view for you.
Yeah, Damir Martin returning to where he started rowing back in the year 2000 here in Zagreb, and looking to open up his campaign at this home World Cup in style. With these top 3 going through to the quarter-final, it's safe to say Martin, Vertain Ferreira of Brazil and Finland's Karppinen looking sweet for those places, with just Cox of Zimbabwe off the back of the pack.
4. eliminacijska skupina muških skifova. Damir Martin kontrolira ovu utrku. Izborit će svoje mjesto u četvrtfinalu, dok su na drugoj poziciji Brazilac Lucas Ferreira Vertain i dok je na 3. poziciji Finac koji će također izboriti svoje mjesto u četvrtfinalu.
And it will be a leisurely scull over the line for Damir Martin of Croatia, leaving a chasing Lucas Vertain Ferreira of Brazil, just with overlap. Karppinen of Finland takes that spot through to the quarter-final, over and ahead of Stephen Cox of Zimbabwe. Did you get my message about race 18?
Yes, thanks.
18. utrka programa, 5. eliminacijska skupina muških samaca. Pruga broj 1, Španjolska 2, pruga broj 2, Slovenija 1, pruga broj 3, Bugarska 1 i pruga broj 4, Češka.
So this is the 5th and final heat of the men's single sculls, with another 3 to progress through to the quarter-finals. A slight change in the advertised start list, with a withdrawal from Slovenia one's Filip Mataj Pfeiffer, but he will be replaced by the second Slovenian sculler that we didn't see in the earlier heats, Izak Ivan Zvegeli. And in the running for this 5th heat of the men's single sculls, in lane 1, Gonzalo Garcia Ferrero. In lane number 2, it will then be the Slovenian sculler, Isaac Ivan Zvegeli, who we've just mentioned. In lane 3, Christian Vasilev of Bulgaria. And in lane 4, it's Thomas Shishma. And this race number 18, Colleen will be running alongside and tight at the top here for those final spaces through to the quarter-final, Colleen.
Yeah, Camilla, really tight up at the top. And at the moment, Ivan Scavelli able to hold his own by about a half a length or so advantage over the Bulgarian sculler just next to him. That's Christian Vasilev of Bulgaria, the 31-year-old European bronze medalist in 2022. He finished at the C final back in 2019. He raced at the 2022 Worlds. He withdrew in the semifinal due to illness, so he's back and in the mix, but it is the 24-year-old up at the top currently. So we're just crossing through into the second half of the race. Over on the far side, closest contention, it's the Spaniard Gonzalo Garcias Ferrero out of lane 1, and then running fourth at the moment, closest to us in the commentary car, is Tomas Sisma. So again, just an incredible field here for the men's single sculls. And in terms of the qualifying positions, we're still looking really good for the Slovenian sculler, Ivan Scavelli out of lane 2. He's up at 35 strokes per minute, and he's the quickest moving boat on the course. So holding on to that power, about 3/4 of a length or so advantage over the Bulgarian, Christian Vasilev, not letting him go, and in fact making a little bit of a push. We see Vasilev just look over his right shoulder to get a sense of just how close he is in touch, and can he overcome the Slovenian. It's looking like he's trying to make a bit of a push for it. He takes it up 1 beat, 34 strokes per minute. They're both now moving identical speeds on the course as they approach the final 500 meters to go. So those two are our leaders, and then the remaining two falling back a little bit off the pace. Gonzalo Garcias Ferrero, the 24-year-old, and then Tomas Sisma kind of holding on to that position, perhaps knowing that there isn't a chance to capture one of those qualifying spots to the quarterfinal at this point in time. Just shy of 5 to go, and what a battle ensuing up at the top of the course. Again, this is the heat, so these two crews looking likely to move in, the Bulgarian and the Slovenian sculler, but Bulgaria with a bit of an answer for Slovenia, for Scavelli of Slovenia, just not able to get his bow ahead quite yet, Christian Vasilev, but perhaps able to do it in these final few hundred meters. We'll see how this battle continues to go down. Well, not quite a bow ball, but just certainly less than a bow deck separating these two crews. It's been a patient start, I think, for them. And as they close into the final 500 meters, they're certainly looking to make a bit of a statement. Camilla, they're coming towards you, and will Slovenia have the last word?
Yeah, it's going to be so close to the wire here for this final space through to the quarterfinals. I think one of the closest races we've seen of the day, and in single sculls, that's a tough position to be in, these gladiatorial battles. No doubt as to the two leaders, though. They've got a bit of a buffer out here in front. Great to see Ivan Scavelli in the top spot for the majority of this race, but being challenged hard here by Christian Vasilev. But it's going to be a matchup between Garcia Ferrero of Spain and Sisma of the Czech Republic for that final spot through to the quarterfinals.
Peta eliminacijska skupina muških samaca se približava kraju, vrlo uzbudljiva utrka, trojica veslača će proći dalje, trenutno u vodstvu Kristijan Vasilev ispred Slovenca Isaka Ivana Žvegelja, i čini mi se da je utrka riješena, čini mi se da će posada Češke, čini mi se da će morati svoje mjesto protražiti kroz repasaž.
Vasilev pulling out all the stops to get over the line in front. It's then going to be Askala from Slovenia that finishes in second. Zveglier, and wow, what a sprint there from the Spanish sculler Gonzalo Garcia Ferrero. He saw the danger of that progress through to the E final, and really ramped up the intensity to make it ahead of Tomas Sisma of the Czech Republic, that will take that E final space and unfortunately not progress through to the quarterfinals.
Utrka 19 današnjeg programa, posljednja eliminacijska utrka muških samaca, posada Mađarske, pruga broj 1. pruga broj 2 Slovačka, pruga broj 3 Srbija i pruga broj 4 Irak.
Now on to heat 6 of the men's single sculls. It's a packed field here in this event, always a popular one. And now another 4 scullers trying to get into the top 3 spaces to continue progressing on through this event. In lane 1, it's Petevari Molnar Bendegush for Hungary. In lane 2, Jakub Hernanek of Slovakia. In lane 3, it's Nikolai Pimenov of Serbia. And in lane 4, it's Bakar Al-Dalami of Iraq. And moving into 800 metres gone, it is the Serbian sculler Pimenev that has taken the lead. But as we saw in that last heat, Richie, it's never over until it's over.
Absolutely, until that last stroke is taken, you can't take anything for granted here. Leading it out, as he said, the Serbian sculler Nikolai Pimenov, the 26-year-old in lane 3, rowing very nicely. He's got a beautiful rhythm. He's a really nice sculler to watch, and he's leading out clear water lead of about a length and a half over the sculler from Hungary in second place. The very experienced Petevari Molnar is currently in second place. He's just about a length lead. Earlier on in the race, he was overlapping with the Serbian sculler and contending for the lead, but I think he's realised he's done enough now to get that qualifying spot, so he's quite happily taken the rate down. He was up at 38-39 when he was putting pushes on. He's back down to 30, and what's after happening now is that the Iraqi sculler Bakir Al-Durami is after moving into third place, getting an overlap, and he's now moving into half a length and continues to push on and is now coming through to take second place. So some interesting changes there just in the last 200 metres with Petevari Molnar making the decision to take the foot off the gas, but it's allowed Bakir Al-Duami of Iraq to move into second. These 3 crews have clear water over the Slovakian sculler Jakub Herkonik, who was racing in a double earlier on due to injury, has now changed into the single, so slight change of plans for the Slovakian sculler racing in the single in this early season World Cup 1 regatta. No doubt about our leader though, it is Nikolai Pimenov. He's led from the start and continues to push away from the other crews. He's the fastest boat on the water, rating 32. He hasn't put any pushes on. He's rowing quite solidly to maintain that lead, and the second place now it is Bakir Al-Duami from Iraq, one of 2 crews from Iraq competing here at World Cup 1 regatta. They have a double scull, also men's double scull competing. He's got a half a length lead over Petevari Molnar of Hungary. They're the 1, 2 and 3. And some way back, as I mentioned, to the Slovakian scullers. So 3 qualifying spots coming up with 500 metres to go. It looks good for Nikolai Pimenov of Serbia, just about 3 lengths ahead of Bakir Al-Duami of Iraq in second place. 1 length lead over the Bendigas. Petevari Molnar of Hungary, they're the 1, 2 and 3, just coming through 500 metres now, and looking good for these to close out the qualifying in the men's single sculls, all moving into the quarterfinals. So some extra racing here due to the high volume of competitors. It is the busiest entry that we have, the most entries in this World Cup 1 regatta, and some class rowers in all of the fields there, and we'll get some amazing racing into the quarterfinals, semi-finals and finals as well. So just over 300 metres to go. We're watching Nikolai Pimenov, a really, really nice rower. The catch and the placement of the blade is just absolute poetry in motion here, and looks great with the wonderful conditions that we have here in Lake Jarun in Zagreb. He is continuing to move ahead, so he's got a clear water lead. The Iraqi sculler doing a great job moving from third into second place, just about 2 lengths behind the leader at the moment, so he has done enough to move into contention to qualify. And as I mentioned, Bendugues Petevari Molnar, who went off very hard in the first 750, has made the decision now to step back, but looking good here for Nikolai Pimenov. Camilla coming in towards the finish in the last heat of the men's single sculls.
Yeah, Pimenov looking so strong here, the 26-year-old looking to win out this final heat of the men's single sculls. Tough battles ahead, though. Many Olympic medalists he'll have to face along the way if he progresses through to the quarterfinals. But what a great scull here from Bakar Al-Dalami of Iraq to move into second place. A big performance there from him. And in third place currently, well, it seems to me it's still Petrovari Molnar Bendeguš of Hungary.
Posljednja eliminacijska utrka muških samaca, uvjerljiva pobjeda Nikolaja Pimenova iz Srbije, odličan na drugom mjestu Bakar Al-Dulajmi iz Iraka, a dok je treće mjesto zauzeo Mađar Bendeguš Petrovari Molnar.
So a reminder, top 3 spots here through to the quarterfinal, the last 3 spots available here in this heat, and it will be the Serbian Pimenov that is joined by Al-Dalami of Iraq, finally Hungary's Petrovari Molnar to make up the top 3, just Hrhonek of Slovakia missing out to move through into the E-final.
20. utrka današnjeg programa. Prva od 2 eliminacijske utrke lakih dvojaca na pariće za žene. Pruga broj 1 Švicarska 2, pruga broj 2 Španjolska, pruga broj 3 Čile, pruga broj 4 Argentina.
Moving on to the penultimate races, the final few races here in this morning's session. It's the lightweight women's double sculls. This is the first heat of 2 in this lightweight women's double sculls event. In lane 1, Switzerland 2. In lane 2, Spain. In lane 3, Chile. And in lane 4, Argentina. One to go through to the A final. And to tell you who that is, Colleen is running alongside this race.
Thanks, Camilla, running alongside it, and really impressed with the rhythm of this Spanish combination who has been leading since the start, truly just off the blocks, and they look really good. So they've just got a strong rhythm that's moving them really nicely through the water and pushing their bow out at about 36 strokes per minute, and the quickest moving boat on the course at the moment. So they'll certainly be one to watch. Just running alongside them in closest contention and certainly a threat to the Spaniards. Well, that is this combination from Switzerland, Elaine Roll in the bow and Olivia Nocht in the stroke seat. They're the second Swiss boat, so we'll see the first Swiss boat in the next heat. Elaine Roll and Olivia Nocht partnering together. Elaine Roll was 13th in the lightweight single at the 2022 World Championships. Nocht raced in the second Switzerland crew in the lightweight single at the third World Cup last season, where she finished 10th. So they'll certainly be looking to see what they can do in the season opener for 2023, just about 1 length or so separating Switzerland and Spain. As Camilla told us, well, it's just 1 to get through to the A final, so this progression is quite punishing. This is their shot to be able to potentially skip that repechage race, stay off their feet, have a bit of a rest, and if they can manage, what the Spaniards are looking to do currently, if they can manage to capture that first place position, they can do just that, right? They can skip the extra race. Spain holding on, consistent speed, I'd say really even pacing from this crew, still at that 36. Speed is about the same. The Swiss combination just moving a little bit slower, just barely on the track as they come through, approaching the final quarter of this Heat 1 for the lightweight women's double. Argentina running just behind them. Argentina, well, not quite just, I'd say a few lengths open water, then back to the Argentinians. That's Sonia Baluso Chiaruso in the bow and Evelyn Marcial Silvestro in the stroke seat for Argentina, with Silvestro Tokyo Olympian and partnering now with Chiaruso in the lightweight double. So great to see them back, and we'll have a close eye on that combination as well. Some real talent coming out of that Argentinian shell. Up at the top of the field, though, continues to be Spain, Spain, Spain. So not quite at that 500 to go, but certainly they'll be looking for that marker. We can see this combination just moving so well. And Rosia Lau Sanchez, the stroke seat, we saw a glance over her right shoulder, just at the Swiss crew next to her to get a sense of where they are. The Swiss combination, will they bring it up? This is Eileen Roll in the bow seat, Olivia Nacht in the stroke seat. They've taken up the stroke rate about a beat, maybe two, as they charge through the final 500 meters. It is just one crew to advance to the A final. So there is another chance through the repechage if that is where you are relegated, but all on the line here. Switzerland certainly in good touch to make a run for that one qualifying position. There's now overlap between Switzerland and Spain. They have truly been just racing alongside one another this entire way down. Spain certainly with the advantage, but Switzerland again not letting them break away. We're closing in on the final 250 meters. Camilla, Spain takes it up to 38 strokes per minute.
Yeah, very characteristic of the Spanish crews in this final few hundred meters, always able to get the rating right up there, and they're up at 39 strokes a minute now, this Spanish crew, and moving into the lead ahead of Switzerland, who have been plugging away for the entirety of this course, and just one spot through to the A final. This is really all on the line here in this final 100 meters. Spain moving ahead of Switzerland.
Posljednjih je 200 metara utrke lakih dvojaca na parice za žene. Vodi se velika borba između Španjolske i Švicarske dva za to jedno mjesto koje vodi izravno u finale. Za sada Španjolke nekih dužinu čamca u prednosti i prema ome će i zadržati to vodstvo do kraja. Postalo je još nekih 100 metara do cilja utrke.
Roll and Nacht try as they might for Switzerland to respond to this charge from Spain, but they're just so good at it, the Spanish crews, winding up the rating through the final few hundred meters. They're at 40 strokes a minute now as they look back with a length lead ahead of Switzerland to take that top spot through to the A final. That will leave Switzerland to contend the repechage for another chance, and they look very pleased with that. Miguel Gomez and Lau Sanchez of Spain. It's then some way back to Argentina, and following them with a smidge of overlap, it's the Chilean crew in lane number 3 who will be joining Switzerland for another run down the track in the repechage.
Druga eliminacijska skupina lakih dvojaca na pariće za žene. Pruga broj 1 Švicarska 1, pruga broj 2 Hong Kong, pruga broj 3 Tajland, pruga broj 4 Austrija.
We've got the second heat now of this lightweight women's double sculls event. Another one crew to go through to the A final, a heartbreaking progression system, as we just saw for the Swiss there in that previous heat. More Swiss interest here as they line up in lane number 1, Mertz and Roll for Switzerland 1. It's then Wang and Hung for Hong Kong, China in 2. Rarun and Chemputza of Thailand in lane 3. And Altenhuber and Tiefenthaler of Austria in lane number 4. And again, we just saw some heartbreak there for the Swiss in that first heat. Could we see more here, Richie, in this second heat of the lightweight women's double sculls?
They are staying in contention in second place at the moment, but doing all the running, it's the Austrians in lane 4, Luisa Altenhuber in the bow seat, Lara Tiefenthaler in the stroke seat. They've gone off the start, rating quite high. They blasted out of the start and took an early lead. They've opened it up to about a 1-length lead coming up on the 500 metre mark. They're just opening up clear water now as we approach the halfway 1,000-metre mark. So they're leading it out, the 24-year-olds from Austria, coached by Christoph Engel, rowing very nicely here. Nice speed on the boat. They're up at rating 35-36. They're keeping it very competitive here and looking to take that one qualifying spot. Definitely don't want to go through the repechage process. Putting pressure on them is the Swiss double of Patricia Mertz and Frederique Roll in second place at the moment. Just a little bit of clear water between first and second, so it might come down to a real push in the second half of the race. Some way back then to Thailand in third place at the moment, who have a length and a half over China, Hong Kong, China in fourth place. But with just one qualifying crew, it is the Austrians, Luisa and Lara, really pushing on here. They're not taking the foot off the gas. They're still rating up at 36, pushing on every single stroke and putting them under pressure. It is that Swiss double of Mertz and Roll back in second place, but something tells me they're going to run out of water unless they go now, and they might have to contend with going through the repechage process. As I say that, they just start to take the rate up, so a bit of a push coming from Switzerland to get back in contention, and they might race this one all the way to the line and see if they can get that first qualifying spot. Patricia Mertz in the bow seat, Frederic Roll in the stroke seat, both 29 years of age, have really great experience under them, coached now by Paola Grizzetti, and have had a very difficult time of it with the tragic loss of their coach Robin Dowell earlier on in this season, and that's what they said is going to be their biggest challenge this year. But they're doing him proud here right now, because coming up with 500 to go, they have just changed gear in the last 100 metres, and they're really coming back to put pressure on the crew from Austria. So we're going to have a really exciting finish here coming up towards the line. The crews from Thailand and Hong Kong, China, way back clear water there, but it's just now about a 3/4 length lead the Austrians have, and will they have enough in the tank to respond to the challenge from the Swiss? The Swiss are absolutely motoring here in lane number 1, coming through 500 metres. They've got back, that overlap is now changed into just half a length, so they're half a length behind the Austrians with less than 500 metres to go. They're powering up now, rating 37. Their boat speed has gone up, rowing very, very nicely in lane 1. The Austrians have responded in lane 4, and they're pushing on now, looking to get that one qualifying spot. So it's going to be a very exciting finish here with about 300 metres out, just half a length separating them, and it's all to play for. Just one crew to qualify into the final of the lightweight women's double sculls. Leading from the start has been Austria, pushing them all the way and changing gear in the last 500 has been Switzerland. Coming in towards the finish, all to play for. Let's see, Camilla, if Austria can hold on, or can Switzerland come back?
Yeah, can Mertz and Roll get their own back on behalf of their teammates Roller and Nacht in the other heat, who were just pipped to the post? They're really starting to mount the charge here now on that Austrian crew that has led the entire way, but Austria respond. They're up to 41 strokes a minute now, Altenhuber and Tiefenthaler, and they're just clinging on by their fingernails to the 1A final spot that's available in this heat.
Druga eliminacijska skupina ženskih dvojaca, lakih ženskih dvojaca na pariće. Velika je borba između posade Austrije i Švicarske 1, kao i u prvoj eliminacijskoj skupini, ali izgleda da će posada Austrije ipak odoljeti napadu Švicarki i uzeti to prvo mjesto koje vodi izravno u finale.
Wow, an extra burst of speed here for Austria. Just see them pull away once more from Switzerland. They're up at 42 strokes a minute now. Where they're finding these extra gears from, I just don't know. But it will be an A final place directly through for Altenhuber and Tiefenthaler of Austria, ahead of Mertz and Roll for Switzerland, who will join their Swiss compatriots in the repechage of this lightweight double sculls heat. It's then a battle between Thailand and Hong Kong, China, that's currently being won out by Thailand 3 strokes before the line. It's going to be the Thai crew that get the honours of going through in 3rd position ahead of Hong Kong, China. All crews there, aside from Austria, will contend the repechage of this lightweight women's double scull.
Druga utrka današnjeg programa, laki muški dvojac na pariće, prva eliminacijska skupina, pruga broj 1 Austrija, pruga broj 2 Indija, pruga broj 3 Španjolska 2, pruga broj 4 Čile, pruga broj 5 Švicarska i u pruzi broj 6 Estonija.
Just 3 more races left of this morning's programme, and this next race will be the first heat of the lightweight men's double sculls. In lane 1, we've got Austria. In lane 2, India. In lane 3, Spain 2. In lane 4, Chile. In lane 5, Switzerland. And in lane 6, Estonia. And we've just seen a couple of just fall short for Switzerland in the lightweight women's double sculls, but it seems to me they could be having better luck here, Colleen, in the lightweight men's double sculls.
Camilla, Switzerland looking so solid right now. This combination, Switzerland's Jan Schubel and Rafael Ahumada, Ireland in the stroke seat. Perhaps not surprising, they're certainly a favorite in the lightweight men's double sculls event. The duo took gold at World Cup 1 last year, as well as the overall World Rowing Cup in this boat class. So they'll be looking to defend that title, and similar to earlier rounds, it's just one to advance on to Final A, so it's a bit punishing in that sense. As we scan across the board, well, I'd say at the moment it's really just Estonia and Chile who are out of it, starting to get a bit more separation. I think the Swiss combination now kicks it up a beat or two. They're at 36 strokes per minute, quickest moving boat on the course, as they've now moved well through halfway into the third quarter of the race. Perhaps the three crews just behind them starting to get a bit of a sense that they may need something really special to catch up to the Swiss crew. So it's Switzerland, and then on the far side it's Austria, then a really close Spain just behind them, back to India, Estonia, and Chile. This Spanish combination, certainly one to keep an eye on as well. The Spanish combination of Dennis Caracedo and Antonio Diaz Ramos, they were both in the lightweight quad that finished fourth last year. And in 2021, they raced the U23 lightweight quad that also finished fourth, so just off the podium. They had a blistering start, so a really quick first 500. They even ran first for a little bit, but that hot pace maybe not quite able to maintain it through. Closing then into the final 500 meters, and who's able to hold it through? Well, it's still looking like Jan Schubel and Rafael Ahumada. Ireland will be able to take that one qualifying position, would take something quite special from Austria over on the far side. So Switzerland now well through that 500 to go, less than 5 to go, looking at about 400 meters. Then it's over to Austria. So Julian Schubel in the stroke seat, Konrad Hultisch in the bow seat. That's their closest competitor. And then a bit of a private battle happening just behind them between Spain and it looks like India out of lane 2. So they're moving into the final 250 meters, one to advance. Camilla, who's your pick at the moment?
I think for me, it's got to be Switzerland, and I sincerely hope the cowbells haven't gone home today, because they're leading out this very competitive lightweight men's double scull field, and they can see erupting across the lake behind them a tight battle for second, third, and fourth going on between Austria, India, and Spain, who will tussle for those minor places. But only one place matters for qualification through to the A final. And that is the top spot. As we move through the final 20 strokes, it has to be Switzerland that have their name stamped on that A final.
Posljednjih 100 metara prve eliminacijske utrke lakih muških dvojaca na Pariće u uvjerljivom vodstvu posada Švicarske. Na drugoj poziciji imamo posadu Austrije. Borba je velika za drugu poziciju, ali samo će posada Švicarske izboriti izravno mjesto u finalu, dok će ostale posade morati u repasaž.
Switzerland crossed the line in front, but chaos erupting behind them as a close finish between Austria that move a third of a length ahead of India and Spain. Very close on the line there for those minor places. And it will be Estonia and Chile that take 5th and 6th respectively in this first heat of the lightweight men's double sculls. And they're confirmed it was India that just snuck their bow balls ahead of the Spanish crew to take 3rd place ahead of Spain in 4th.
Utrka broj 23 današnjeg programa, druga eliminacijska skupina lakih dvojaca na Pariće. U pruzi broj 1 Tajland. Pruga broj 2 Španjolska 1, pruga broj 3 Hong Kong, pruga broj 3 za Hrvatsku Nino Varat i Vito Prižmić, pruga broj 5 Irak, pruga broj 6 Češka.
Who will be joining Switzerland in the A final, that direct ticket through in the lightweight men's double sculls. Heat 2 to find that out. In lane 1, Thailand. In lane 2, Spain 1. In lane 3, Hong Kong, China. In lane 4, Croatia. In lane 5, Iraq. And in lane 6, we've got the Czech Republic. And it's all too tight to call, I think, at the moment. But to be able to separate these crews, we've got our commentators on the course, and it will be Richie Richardson trying to do that job for us. Richie, how's it looking?
It was the Spanish double that got off to the faster start, rating well into the 50s in the first 100 metres. But since the crews have settled down into their race paces, it's the Czech Republic double in lane 6, Yuri Simonek and Miroslav Vrastil, who have opened up the lead here. Just one qualifying spot, as we mentioned from the previous race, so they're not hanging around here. They've opened up clear water over the Spanish in second place. Back in third, it is the Iraqi double, so great to see them up here contending, similar to the sculler earlier on who advanced on to the quarterfinals. The double here doing very well in third place, just a half a length lead over Hong Kong, China in fourth, and in fifth at the moment it is Thailand, and then in sixth it is the crew from Croatia. So coming up 1,000 metres gone, looking good. Yuri Simonek and Miroslav Vrastil, they are of course an informed crew, fourth in the Olympics in Tokyo, fifth at the World Championship this year, as well as at the Europeans. They did win a bronze medal at World Cup 1, so they're hoping to repeat their form of last year and take a gold medal here, and pushing on all the time. They're not hanging around, as I said. Rating 37, beautiful boat speed here, and looking really competitive, holding on to that clear water lead over the crew from Spain in second place. The Spanish pair 7th in the Olympics, 8th in the World Cup and in the Europeans, and they took silver ahead of the Czech crew in World Cup 1 last year, but the Czech crew looking to get the better of them here. Having a really great race. It is the double from Iraq. They are in lane 5. They're pushing on to the Spanish now. They're getting an overlap with the Spanish crew for second and third, and there's clear water then back to the crew from Hong Kong, China, Thailand, and the Croatians a little bit further back in 4th, 5th and 6th. With just one qualifying spot though, it does look like Simonek and Vrastil of the Czech Republic, coached by Michal Vabrusek, they have, as I said, about 3 or 4 lengths lead at the moment ahead of the Spanish double in second place, and then the Iraqi in third. So it'll be very interesting to see how the repechages go later on, but 500 metres to go, a blistering pace from the Czech double. The other crews not even get into contention with them here, so fantastic row from the Czech double, Yuri Simonek and Miroslav Vrastil in the second heat of the lightweight men's double sculls. They're lightweights, but the Czech double, they're big guys. They look really impressive in the boat. A beautiful speed, beautiful turn at the finish as well, sending it away, and they haven't taken that rate down. 38 strokes per minute. They're really powering on here and continue to move away from the double from Spain and from Iraq. They're the 1, 2 and 3, so really great row from start to finish here. The Czech Republic dominating this entire race, looking to take that one qualifying spot. The Spanish double racing quite well as well, still high rate at 38. We're well used to see them with the Spanish doubles rating quite high, but they haven't been able to contend here as they come into view at the second heat of the lightweight men's double. Camilla, how impressive are this Czech Republic double?
Yeah, I always love watching Simonek and Vrastil race. A hugely competitive double, both at lightweight and open weight, that they've raced in the past, but no trouble for them, moving up to 39 strokes a minute, the boat speed moving with it, but Spain also trying to cling on to their coattails through this final 100 meters.
Druga eliminacijska utrka muški dvaca na Pariće. Ostalo je nekih 100-tinjak metara do cilja u vodstvu posada Češke ispred posade Španjolske. Izgleda da je posada Španjolske odustala od borbe jer samo prvo mjesto vodi izravno u finale u ovoj utrci. Posada Hrvatske Nino Varat i Vito Prižmić trenutno na 5. mjestu.
Yuri Simonek and Miroslav Vrastil will be very comfortable in victory here in this second heat of the lightweight men's double sculls. And Spain will have to settle for second and settle for a place in the repechage. ahead of the crew in lane 5, Iraq. A third place finish for them over Hong Kong, China, that moved through in 4th. Croatia with the home support here. Prismic and Varat to move through in 5th, and then completing this lineup and the 6th crew to cross will be Thailand in this lightweight men's double scull before we head to the final race of this morning session.
24. utrka današnjeg jutrošnjeg programa. Muški četverac na pariće. Imamo utrku za staze. Pruga broj 1 Ukrajina, pruga broj 2 Švicarska, pruga broj 3 Češka i u pruzi broj 4 za Hrvatsku Karlo Borković, Davor Poljančić, Roko Bošković i Fran Šuk.
Rounding off this morning's racing session here at the first World Cup of the season, day 1, it will be the preliminary race of the men's quadruple sculls. All crews will progress through to the A final, just a chance for each of them to test their speed here on Jarun Lake in Croatia. In lane 1, it's Ukraine. In lane 2, Switzerland. In lane 3, the Czech Republic. And in lane 4, Croatia. They're approaching 400 metres now and still all up at extremely high ratings. The Swiss still at rate 40 here, Colleen.
Still at rate 40, the Ukrainians at 39, the Czech Republic 37, Croatia 38. I love the quads. They move so quickly, so truly don't blink, you might miss them. These are boats that just propel, of course, 4 people, 2 oars, and the quads just fly, and they're doing exactly that as they move into the second quarter of the race. All eyes on Ukraine up at 37 strokes per minute, and the quickest moving boat on the course at the moment, just barely. In a relatively young field, this crew from Ukraine is the oldest of 4 entries, and it's a test race, as Camilla told us, so a chance to get out on the water, test tactics, test strategies, but doesn't have any implications on things like future lane draws or rounds. This Ukrainian combination will 3 returners from their crew at last year's World Championships, and they'll be looking to improve upon their 7th place finish there. This Czech combination currently running in a 4th place position by about open water, perhaps a little bit surprising. They've put together a strong crew too, including Dalibor Nedela and Filip Zima, who were world and European champions in this boat class back in 2021. So they're no strangers to the quad, but they are currently running in, excuse me, not that 4th place position, that's Croatia. The Czech combination is running in a close second to Ukraine, then Switzerland in 3rd, and back to the hometown favorites, Croatia. So Ukraine 36, just approaching the halfway point, holding on to the advantage over the combination from the Czech Republic, and able to currently hold on to the lead as we move into the 3rd quarter of the race. Up at the top, well, it's so tightly packed, again, I'd say perhaps with the exception of the Croatians. So this combination from Switzerland holding on to a really tight 3rd, and it's just a beautiful thing to watch as they move through the 3rd quarter of the race. Ukraine, really consistent pacing. I'd say the Swiss combination maybe taking a little bit of a shift. They've brought it up now to 39 strokes per minute. Perhaps they don't quite like that 3rd place position that they're holding on to, but would take a bit of work to catch the Czech crew. Some swans on Lake Jarun. Fortunately, not in any of the racing lanes at the moment, but just absolutely perfect conditions, as we've mentioned, and these crews all making the best of it as they look to close out the 3rd quarter of the 2,000-meter race and moving into the final quarter of this race. Ukraine, again, quick off the line. They were first at the 500, first at the 1,000. It's looking like they will be first to cross into the final 500, but the Czech Republic for the first time puts their bow ahead, so that may well change by the time we approach the 500 to go. Again, hugely skilled Czech crew, 2 of last year's competitors that finished 15th overall, and just incredible pedigree across the board from both the U23 years, the junior years, and of course now into their senior years. So Czech fans will be happy to know that the Czech Republic leads. That means Ukraine running a really close second, back to Switzerland, and then back to the local favorites from Croatia out of lane 4. We'll get a sense in just a moment if these crews decide to increase the stroke rate and go for a full sprint. It certainly looks like that's what they're heading into. Camilla, you'll have to let us know if this Ukrainian crew is able to overhaul the Czech as we move into the final 250.
Yeah, that's been a big push through the centre part of the course here from the Czech Republic. Happy to sit in second until the 1,000 metres, and then the big overhaul here. But look at this massive sprint here coming from Switzerland, trying to sandwich themselves in the middle, and it's all coming to a head here. A big overtake from the Czech Republic has encouraged Ukraine to respond. They still sit in second, but Switzerland moving fast here in third.
Posljednja utrka jutarnjeg programa, četvercina Pariće. U utrci za staze trenutno je vodeća posada Češke, iako je cijelu utrku gotovo vodila posada Ukrajine. Na trećoj poziciji posada Švicarske, dok je na četvrtom mjestu Hrvatska.
Czech Republic put themselves in a position where they don't have to worry about the win here, but Ukraine certainly have to worry about that second place. A big sprint from Switzerland really put them under pressure there, but they held on by a canvas ahead of Switzerland, who moved across the line in third. It was then the home favourites from Croatia who will have to think again ahead of the final on Sunday. But they will all face each other once again in the A final, where they've got a chance to look back, improve, and try once more when the medals are on the line.
Ovo je bila posljednja utrka jutarnjeg programa. Nastavak nas očekuje u popodne u 3 sata. Budite ponovo s nama kad započinjemo utrkom ženskih četveraca na Pariće u 3 sata.
So a big thank you for joining us this morning. We've kicked off the flatwater season in style here in Zagreb. It's been a great morning of racing, an action-packed programme, and we'll have a break now until 3 p.m. local time, where we'll be back again live both on the airways and on the course with the repechage of the women's quadruple sculls. My apologies, the preliminary race for the women's quadruple sculls will then run through the preliminary for the women's coxless fours alongside the quarter-finals for the men's single sculls, as well as the lightweight men's single sculls. Plenty more to come. That's from 3 o'clock local time this afternoon. I've been Camilla Hadland-Horrocks, and we will leave you now with Peter Millen to wrap up the day in Croatian, and we'll see you again at 3 p.m.
Posljednja utrka jutarnjeg programa je završila. Vidjeli smo mnoštvo zanimljivih utrka, njih 23. Po podnevnom programu nas očekuju utrke repasaža koje će započeti, odnosno prve 3 utrke će biti utrke za staze, ženskog četverca na Pariće i ženskog četverca bez kormilara. Nakon toga nas očekuju utrke repasaža. Budite i s nama u popodnevnom programu i očekujte mnoštvo zanimljivih utrka.